Only for emergency. Shorty excellent, excellent, excellent.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for making the time to be here today. Thank you for joining. Today, we are going to be talking about data analytics, the field, what it takes to get in there, skills to learn, and all the good stuff you need to know. Okay. So, I'll be doing this with my partner, Nana. He's a partner and a mentor to me. He's the one that helped me get into this field. So we've got a lot of good information to learn today. So let me share my screen here. And I think for everybody on, if you can mute yourself unless you have something to say, I would appreciate that. So this is going to be the outline for today's presentation. We are going to do introductions of ourselves, myself and my partner. We are gonna talk about what data analytics is, because I know for some of us on here, we've heard about it, but we probably don't know what it is, what the day-to-day life of a data analyst is, what goes into it. So we are gonna do that. Let me make sure that this is being recorded so that okay, it's recording. So I'm gonna send the recording out after this, by the way, so you can go back and watch if you miss anything. So then we are gonna talk about different career paths and roles in data analytics. Okay, uh, it has endless amount of opportunities in it. There's different type of job titles you can have in data analytics. If you've heard of it, you probably heard of data analyst, but there's a lot more to it that we're going to discuss. So by the end of this presentation, you will know more than just a data analyst. Okay, and we're going to talk about compensation, the numbers. That's what sometimes people may not tell you. I remember when I was going to college, I did engineering in college. At the time, I never had any idea about what kind of money I could make or anything, right? It was cool to be an engineer, so I did engineering. But we're going to talk about compensation, what kind of money you can expect to make when you're in this field, okay? Of course, it's going to vary based on location and the type of company you work for, but this will just be a ballpark good estimate of what you can expect. Uh, how to get your first job, where we started and how we got here. How did we get our first jobs? Because for a lot of times when you're trying to break into a new field, it can be very hard. It can be very frustrating, especially if you don't have a coach by your side. So we're going to talk about how you can get that first job and then get going from there. The skills you need to learn, okay? Sometimes you may find yourself learning a lot of unnecessary stuff that may not be helpful. It may or may not be helpful when you get that first job. So we're going to talk about the important skills you need to focus on. And then at the end, we're going to talk about our program. Okay. This is by no way telling you to join the program. We're just going to introduce the program. If you feel like it can be a good program for you, cool. If not, we're still gonna. That's why we put that at the end, because we still want to focus on giving you all the information. You need to make better decisions for yourself. If you're on here, then I know for sure you're interested in this field one way or the other. So we want to make sure that you get what you need. And then I'm gonna have a little gift for you at the end, and then we're gonna do a Q&A session. Okay, so we're going to go through the presentation and then we will finish with the Q&A, just because I want us to present all the information. We have time constraints. People don't have so much time on here. I want to respect everybody's time. So we're going to go through all the information. If you have any questions, write it down. Once the presentation is done, even though we mark this from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m., if you're on Eastern time, we are going to be available. We are going to answer any questions. So if it goes over the 2 hours, that's totally fine. But we still want to make sure we get through all the information for people to get what they came for. And then if you have any questions, we're going to have unlimited time to answer any questions you have. I hope that makes sense. So without wasting time, let me get into the next slide. So what is data analytics, right? I think before I do that, I'm not sure if my partner, Nana, are you on here? Okay, I see Nana on here.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice. So I'm gonna do the intros first before we get into the what is data analytics part. My name is Clement Boateng. If you've seen any ads out there, I'm the face in the ads. I'm a data analyst myself. I specifically focus on Power BI development. I use Power BI every day. I was an engineer before. I used to do civil engineering. I enjoyed being in that field, but it was up until Nana, my partner, is a friend and a mentor and everything. So I talked to Nana about what he does, and Nana had been in the data field, I think Nana since 2010. So Nana told me about his work, the data science and all of that, and it sounded very exciting. So from there, Nana took me to meet and greets to meet people, got me introduced to classes I need to take. And then that's how I found myself in this data analytics field. So I've been working in here for over 4 years now, close to 5 years. It's a field I've really enjoyed working in. So I will let Nana talk about himself as well. I know he has ample amount of experience compared to mine. So Nana, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, Clement. Thank you. And hi, everyone. I hope you guys are doing great. So my name is Nana Oseteria. I'm a data engineer slash a BI or business intelligence developer, which basically comprises a lot of things, a lot of tools that I've used. My background is accounting. And basically, back when I started, it wasn't like now that it's basically prevalent, like it's all over the place. Even the universities are actually doing short courses, and then you just do it, and then you get a job, or whichever way you find yourself in getting the job. I mean, right now, is I'll put it as more easier nowadays, unlike just recently where a few things happened and then, changing government and a lot of things going on, and it has basically slowed down the system a little bit. But, when we started, it was really tough in terms of getting the job. So just a little bit, when I, after school graduated, it was really tough getting a job because that was when, President Obama had, come in and things were really tough around that time. So one of my colleagues who was actually doing his master's in mathematics at the same time, teaching SQL and other programming tools then um, introduced me to this. And then I took some classes also in Northern Virginia, where we have Nova. We took some classes in there. And then my friend also, helped me out with some classes. He used to run classes he basically used to work with an IT company where they train you and then they help you out. So, I did that. And then after those classes, um, getting a job wasn't that simple then because they train you and then um, they believe that after the class, you basically set ready to go, but there's more to it. It's not that simple. So I basically studied a lot because at that point I realized that I didn't have enough, to be able to go on the field. So I had to stay back. I gave myself 3 months, you know, try to learn and get the understanding, and then before, getting it. My friend was great. He actually helped me out with my mentorship and all that. And I was able to get my first contract. And then from there, you know, I went in, and then, basically when you go in, right, it's really big. There's so many things you can do, but you have to start from somewhere. So that is how I started. I went in as a data analyst slash a Tableau developer. And then from there, I looked at the bigger picture, and then I moved on to where I am now, which we'll talk later about that. But that is how I started. It's a great field. There are a lot of opportunities out there. One of the things that nobody can take away from you is the skills. The skills nobody can take away from you. Even if you don't work, there are so many opportunities out there that you can do. You can be a freelancer. You can, there's so many things we're going to talk about it, but just a little is just a little background on myself that I've given you. I'm currently working for an IT company, a medium-sized company who provide services for other companies, the commercial side, including the government and other places. So, and I've been supporting the team from day one till today. So that is just a little bit about me, and then I know we'll talk more. Thank you.
Thank you, Nana. Very informative. Like I said, Nana is my mentor too. I'm trying to be like him when I grow up. So, yeah. First thing that we are going to talk about is what is data analytics, right? If you've never heard of it, if this is your first time hearing about it, it's pretty much using raw data to make smart business decisions, right? And the good thing about data analytics is it applies almost everywhere, including our personal lives, right? So if we go into a retail space, and that's why I put all of these as examples. If we go into a retail space, right? If you've worked for a store, a lot of us probably have. If you go into the store, we track how much items people are buying, how much items you're stocking, uh, how much money is coming in, how much money are we spending, paying employees. All of that are data that we are collecting. Anytime something happens, anytime somebody purchases something and we scan the item, we are collecting data, right? And this data will be analyzed to give the CEOs, the directors, or the stakeholders a very good idea of how much profit we are making in the store, how much losses we are making, how much are we paying these employees. So that is why someday a CEO can wake up and say, this particular store is not performing, so maybe we need to shut it down, right? The CEO works in a corporate office, but through the data they are collecting from the store, by analyzing that data, they're able to make decisions off of that, right? In healthcare, we're able to track outbreaks. When COVID happened, we were tracking how many people were getting COVID, how many people were dying from it, how many people were recovering, how many people are going into the hospitals, right? All of these, anytime somebody goes in, we were collecting the data, and we were analyzing the data in order to see if you turn on the TV and you were seeing that, okay, today, so and so thousand people have died in this particular location. These are the people who have recovered in this location. That is healthcare data analysis in place, right? We're able to track hospital performances to see which hospitals are performing, which ones are not performing. It helps make decisions on if we need to improve certain things within hospitals if something bad is happening, right? We need to collect that data in order to make that decision. If we go into a space like finance, right? Finance applies everywhere, because if you work for any company, the goal of any company is to make money, right? Unless you're a non-profit organization. So if you go into finance companies normally set yearly targets for themselves, and as we progress through the year, they track their data to see how much revenue they're making, how much expenditure is going on, how much profit they're making. That is how they collect transactional data in order to analyze it and make these kind of decisions, right? Project management, which is my favorite field, because like I said, I worked in engineering, I worked in project management before I got into this field. So my domain has been in project management. And as a data analyst in project management, I help our CEOs and all the top stakeholders see project performance, right? My current company, before I went in, it was a lot of Excel tracking, a lot of word of mouth by a project manager. A project manager will come in and say, "Oh, my project is doing well. I think we're going to finish on time." And the CEOs just have to say, "Okay, we believe you," right? But now we are collecting data to say, "Okay, this project has a budget of $5 million. So far, we've spent, let's say, $2 million, but we've only finished 10% of the project. So that means we're spending more money, but we are not performing on the project. What is going on?" By building dashboards and putting them in front of these CEOs, they're able to look at it, they're able to look at the entire portfolio and see how much money we are making, how much losses we are taking. They're able to drill down into these portfolios, look at specific projects and say, this particular project is not performing, this particular project is performing. And then they're able to ask project managers questions. They're able to make decisions if some of these projects are even worth it or if some of the projects need to be shut down, right? So key aspect of project management now is data analytics, right? And of course, we are rolling it into the AI world, right? AI is built on data analytics, right? We have to train these machines to spit out answers. And in order to do that, we have to have big data, use the data to train the machines for the machines to make decisions. So all of us, that's my end goal, to go into the AI world as well. Not my end goal, but my goal at some point. Personal level, right? How does data analysis apply on our personal level? We budget money, right? Normally, at the end of the month, you probably set up your budget that mortgage, I'm going to pay this amount, or rent, I'm going to pay this amount, I'm going to pay this amount in utilities, I'm going to spend this amount on food. As the month goes by, you collect your financial data. Anytime you buy something, you collect that data. And based on that data, you're able to say, okay, this is how much I've spent on food. This is how much I've spent on my house. This is how much I've spent here. So by doing that, you're analyzing this data to make proper decisions, because following month comes, you're going to use the data from the previous month in order to say, okay, I spent too much money on food last month. So what did I do wrong? What do I need to do right? All right. Health and fitness. A lot of us have Apple Watches and these health watches that we normally wear when we are taking walks, when we are exercising. That watch is collecting data based on the movements that we are doing during the day, based on the exercises we are doing during the day. And based on the data it's collecting, it's able to tell you that this week you exercise for 10 hours. This is how much calories you burnt. This is how much your BP was on average during the days. It's all data, right? If you're planning for traveling and shopping planning, right? If we go online, we're reading reviews of products, we are seeing how well the products are performing before we buy it. The store collects data, and the reviews you see, everything is based on data. And based on that data, they're able to tell you the best performing products and the worst performing products. So that applies in our personal lives as well. If you open your bank app right now, a lot of banks, when you open your app, they will have like a simple dashboard like this on there for you, where you can see how much you're spending on different items, where your money is going. And by looking at this, you're able to see that, okay, I'm spending too much money on food, I'm spending too much money on gas, right? Anytime you buy something, you're collecting that transactional data and you're using that to build this dashboard on your phone for you. That's a data analysis. That's a data analyst behind the scene building these dashboards so that you don't have to just go in and look at all your transactional data but rather you have a simple dashboard that helps you make proper decisions. So that's what data analysis is about. The process, right? Of course, before you can collect raw data and build a dashboard like this with it, it has to go through a process, right? So problem definition, that is when somebody sits down and say, okay, I need more insights into this. If you're doing it at your personal level, we've all been through that process where sometimes you make money and then the money goes away so quick. So you're like, how did I spend this money, right? Where did it go? So at that point, you're defining a problem. You're like, I'm spending my money, but I don't know how I'm spending money, right? These big companies is the same thing. They define a problem that, hey, we are making this profit or we're making this loss, but we don't have insights into why it's happening and how it's happening. So they go through the data collection process, right? How can we collect data, right? If it's a store items you're scanning, if it's your personal level, you can decide to collect data anytime you buy something, right? Put the data somewhere. Now the cleaning and storage needs to happen, right? Because raw data comes in, it can have errors and all of that in there. So once we clean and store the data in like a database mostly, and then an analyst have to go in and connect to the data, right? We connect to the data in a database, we do the transformations that we need to do, and then we do the visualization and the analysis, which is the part that the end user sees, right? So all these process normally happen in the back end, and I'll be able to talk more about it because he's done that. And then the front end is what the analysts do for the stakeholders. Nana, do you have anything to add before we jump into the rules?
No, let's jump into the ropes.
Okay. So different rules. Nana, you can take that one.
All right, thank you. So we do have data scientists, we have, machine learning engineers, we have architects, data engineers, data analysts, we have so many of like ETL developers, database administrators, we have SQL developers. So these are just a few, but there are more. When you get in, you're going to see the bigger picture. So basically, let me take a few of these, like data scientists, right? Data scientists, basically, they do something we call predictive modeling. They use different tools, they create models, right? And then what they do is they do just like you have to develop complex models and algorithms to solve business problems. So you have the data analyst who will, be cleaning, making sure that the data is put into a better shape. And then they will do the historical analysis because you have the data, and then they will just have to display what is in there, show you what is going on. So the data analyst, right, will do all that. And then when, let's say, the company decide, okay, we want to see maybe, let's take, for instance, Black Friday, right? So Black Friday, companies or different companies do sales and all other things. They will do, let's say they will do this year. And then what they will decide, okay, so we know this year we had a target, but either they achieved the target or they did not achieve the target. They will look into it and find out what is going on. What did they do wrong? And then they will start making some decisions. So they can say, okay, based on the data that we have, how can we make some projections for next year? So that way, whatever issue we had this year, we will not encounter the same thing again. So that is where this data scientist team will come in, and then they will develop some models and put the data that they have in there. And then that data will predict that, okay, next year, Black Friday, maybe we can hit the target or we might not hit the target due to one or two things. So the company will start preparing for that. If you've ever seen this, sometimes you'll see that prior to Black Friday, right? You see a lot of ads, you see a lot of brochures, a lot of things coming to the house, right? And then you'll be surprised you will get some brochures and then you ask yourself, how did they know I'm going to need this? Or how did they know I'm going to, it's all based on, because you've been to the stores. Remember, you go to the stores like Walmart, you go there every day, you make purchases. All those purchases that you make, we have people behind the scene. We call them the back end developers. They are there looking at the data, right? And seeing how the trends, they have something called trend. They look at the numbers and see how it goes, whether it goes up and down, and then that zigzag kind of line graph. They will look at it, and then remember, when you also go in, you swipe your credit card or your card that will have your name and all that. They can track it. They do on our online stuff where people purchase online, and then they look at the things that you normally purchase. So not only retail, even at the banks also do the same thing. So they're all doing the same thing. They have online, transactions that you do, and then you have the in-store where people go actually into the store to face the customer, to face the reps that actually works for the company. So all these things are going on, right? So they gather this data and then do those predictive models and different kind of things that the data scientist team will do. And they can predict that, oh, okay, so next year, maybe we can achieve it. What do we need to start doing? So they'll start preparing themselves and then start doing what they have to do to make sure that all the people or the adverts, the marketing, whatever they have to do to achieve it, they'll start working on it now. Look at those now, this sales, what do you call it? Those cell phone companies, they do the same thing. I don't know if recently you read that Verizon lost customers. They lost a lot of customers, right? They have analysts, they have scientists, they have all these people, all the different positions that you see here. They have them. They're working behind the scenes, right? Most of the things that will make people leave or customers leave a cell phone company is always the price. And if you look at it, I don't know how many times you'll be browsing on the computer and then either T-Mobile or Verizon, they'll be advertising, this phone is on us, this phone is this plan, when you do this, you get this. These are all data. They've got it. And they're doing this advertisement here and there, Facebook, Twitter, you name them. You see them, they pop on your screens, right? These are all data. They don't just do it. It's basically data that they've collected. They've sat down, they've made these business decisions, and they've agreed that this is the way to go. And it's helping, it's yielding results. That is why they're doing. Now they've basically Verizon, I know they're working on something to win back most of their customers. So these are all data collection that they have in doing all that. Everything that you see out there is based on these people you see or these positions you see on the screen. The finance, the marketing, healthcare, sales, all of them. They are out there, they look at the numbers. They don't just sit down and decide, oh, we want to do this. No, it's based on data. And data speaks a lot of volume. Data will tell you a lot as a businessman. It helps you to make decisions that will help your company to grow. So we have architects, we have data engineers, right? The architects are those who will draw the skeleton, the structure of how the data will be flowing, how things will be done. They will draw or they will build the architecture plan, right? And then you have the engineers who will be working on the data. Before them, we have other groups like the ETL developers, like I mentioned, there are other groups of people who will be doing different. These are just a few. There are so many positions out there, but this one we're limiting more on data analysts because honestly, if you really want to get into this industry, right, it's always best to go in as a data analyst. So you learn the basics, you understand data, you know how to read data. If you know how to read data, right, it helps you a lot. because there are certain key things that you need to understand. I know right now we do have the cloud system and all that. Yeah, those things are great, but sometimes you get to a point where you realize that depending on the project you're working, depending on where you are, sometimes you might get stuck because there are certain fundamentals that you probably might not get. Not to say that you cannot become a cloud engineer or you can do all that, because now there are other tools out there. Because in the cloud, like let's say AWS, there are so many AWS products that you can learn and stick to where you want to be. So if you want to be a cloud person, there are so many cloud-based tools that you can learn. But for me, from my experience and what I always tell my students, those who are already on the field and at the higher places, that's my advice I always give them. Learn the basics, try to understand what data is, how data is analyzed, because that is the same thing you take up there in different positions. You still have to analyze data. You need some form of analysis, some understanding, just like Excel. Excel is one of the tools that everybody should know because we use Excel all the time. So even when a company is hiring you, the company knows that Excel is something that they expect you to know. They don't expect you to be learning Excel whilst you're on the job. No. Is someone talking? Let me see if we can. Okay, good. Right. So these are different positions and different things that they do, just as it's being explained on the screen. But as an analyst, data analyst, right, you do a whole lot. It helps you to learn what data is about, how to analyze data. And it's easy for someone to move from being a data analyst to a data scientist. Not to say a data analyst can be a data scientist, no, but the transitioning is easy because the other things that you need in addition to become a data scientist, one of them is statistics. Statistics is one thing that you basically have to have. You have to have a good understanding of statistics. Someone as a data analyst, when you learn those tools, which probably I think we'll be mentioning those tools. When you have those tools, in your hand, transitioning to become a data scientist you only need statistics. With statistics is something that you can take online, you can, take in college. I mean, you can only register that and learn it. And then through that, you can move on because that transition is easy. One other position that as a data analyst, you can easily transition into data engineer is something you can also do because the thing is, you as a data analyst, you know how to analyze the data. You know when there's an issue with the data, you know where to go to investigate and see where the problem is coming from because you've basically you know how to clean it, you know how to analyze it, you know how to do profiling and all that. And those are, like I said, the basics. When you know this, transitioning to these two positions, there are a few things that you need to know. When you know that, that's it. So like data engineer, right? At least you need to get Python. Python is one one programming tool that you need to have. SQL is something that even as a data analyst, you need to know SQL. SQL, I always say SQL is nothing but English. I mean, it's a programming tool. There's this two school of thought. Some believe it's not a programming tool. They believe it's just, normal English and logic. And basically, programming is all about logic. So if it's logic, then it means it's programming, right? So that is that kind of debate but to me, it's a programming tool. SQL is a programming, or SQL is a programming tool. But if you want to be an engineer, right? There are more. There's certain tools that you need to, because you'll be building pipelines and all that. So there are other tools that you need to, learn in addition to whatever you have. But that would be a step, being a data analyst from, you start as a data analyst and then you build on top of it and then you can grow. So these are different positions that you can become. And then within that position, there are other what do you call it? Different domains, just as you have, like, we have the finance, we have marketing, we have healthcare, sales, and project analyst. The beauty of this is, I mean, there are more. We have the government. You can also get government position. The beauty of this is, if you're looking at all these analysts or all these domains, right? One of the domains that, I mean, there are always job available is healthcare. Healthcare is really big. It's a big industry. Healthcare. And then we also have the regular insurance, like whether auto insurance, house insurance, and all that. They all need analysts. They all need data analysts. But healthcare is really broad, really big. So if you're someone who have already gone through these classes, but you don't have someone to mentor you, that is part of the reason why we're also here. But if you also someone who's looking to which domain to go in and maybe thinking that you want to get job, as quick as possible, one domain that I will recommend, and also you also have to be ready, because it's not just because you want to get job. No, you have to be prepared. You have to be ready. Healthcare is really big. Healthcare data is dirty, and they always need people to analyze, people to clean their data, people to massage the data for them. So yeah, I will end this here. And I know a couple of you probably have a lot of questions, but Clement, let's see what is next.
Okay. Good stuff. I think healthcare data is dirty because the doctors, they always scribble.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
that is one option. Yeah, but there are more to it.
Yeah. So compensation and job demand. I always get this question. So in talking about that, entry level data analyst, based on the location where you are, based on the companies you work for, 60 to 90K can be a good range to target. If you work your way to a mid level, you have some years of experience, 90 to 120, based on my personal experience, I think that can be a good place to be. Senior level, it can be 120. It goes. Now I've seen companies post jobs for 190K and up. So once you become a senior, I mean, the opportunities are endless. This is in no way strict numbers. Like I said, it's just, the reality of things. So, Nana, what do you think about these numbers?
Yeah, so on the average, I'll say yes. That, I mean, looking at the environment today, yeah, these numbers are the reality. Yeah, yeah, these are the average numbers. But one thing I always say is, don't always think when you're new like this, right? When you're new, you want to enter. Don't forget about the money. Trust me, forget about the money. All you need is getting your foot in there. When you get your foot in there, you determine how much they pay you. Trust me, you will determine how much they pay you. Because when you know when you know what you're doing, you know the skills, you learn the tools, you will enjoy. So these are numbers, which is true. Yeah, that is how much, entry level, mid level, senior level. Yeah, that's about right. But there are also more to it, where you can be earning more than these numbers. But the good thing is, or the caveat is, learning, knowing the tools, know how to analyze. That there are a few more to it, and then the money will come. All you need is just the experience. So, yeah.
Yeah, my first role was around 80,000 at the time. I did it for 8 months. Like Nana said, at that time it was to learn to build that experience. So I did it for 8 months, and the next one I moved to 95, and it's been going up from there. So, uh, uh, like Nana said, there's the opportunities in all these places. So whatever field you work in now, I would say after this webinar, you can do some research for yourself, see the data analytic opportunities within your field. Okay, and I'm 99% sure the domain you already work in now is hiring data analysts in there. There's remote and hybrid opportunities, a lot of them. But one thing I'll also highlight, right? I know a lot of times when these boot camps, they are marketing and all of that is always, oh, come get a remote job, come get a remote job. But normally when you're coming in, something I like to recommend to people is don't just go out there and just target only remote jobs, right? Because number one, remote jobs are very competitive. That's what a lot of people want. So you're going to find yourself competing with a lot of experienced people. Even if the job is entry level, sometimes people will just take entry level jobs just because it's remote. They can have time to spend with their family, right? So if you target remote, you're competing with a lot of people. And think about it, anytime a company is hiring for fully remote jobs, that means they have the talent pool they have is pretty much the entire nation, right? But if a company is in a specific location and they are hiring for hybrid and in office for that specific location, then their talent pool is within that location. So your chances of landing a job like that is very high. Now, what I've seen mostly for the companies is hybrid, normally 2 days in the office, 3 days work from home, or 3 days in the office, 2 days work from home. So if you find something like that, that is ideal. If you don't, and you happen to find something where you have to be in the office 5 days a week, as somebody coming in, like I said, my first one, I went into the office 5 days a week for 8 months. I found it very helpful too, because when you have questions, you can always just knock on somebody's door. You can walk to your next person in the next cubicle. When you work fully remote, it's very hard to get hold of people, right? Normally, you will contact people and they respond to you the following day. It's hard. So as a newbie in there, being in the office setting can help you learn. Okay. So yeah, that's one thing. Somebody asked if you have the degrees and training but not the experience. Yeah, we're gonna get there and talk about that. So breaking into the field, this is where we are gonna touch this. Now I will let you start off with the tools that you need to break in there. You're still on mute.
Yes. So yeah, the tools that you see in here, right? Yeah, these are the tools that you need as a data analyst. You need Excel is something that I expect you to know. I mean, that is just what that is. It is what it is. They expect you to know. SQL or SQL, which is structured query language. Yes, you need that because you'll be pulling data. You'll be writing queries, like there will be ad hoc requests. You need that. Power BI and Tableau, these are visualization tools, right? You visualize for the people to actually see what is going on. These are, I'll say, automated tools that you visualize, you build the dashboard one time, and then all you do is the data will be feeding the dashboard, and you do something we call scheduling, where you schedule for the data to refresh. So whenever they refresh, you just see it, and the client, which is your users, whoever needs to see, you give them access and they can always see. So these are the 4 tools, including Python, right? But Python, before, it wasn't, kind of let me put it, when you look at like job descriptions and all that, before Python wasn't that, prevalent in there. But now it seems like, most companies require you to have some, programming knowledge, and especially they go with Python. So it's also one of them. But these four that you see, Excel, SQL, Power BI, or Tableau, those, yes, as a data analyst, yes, you need to have, at least with Power BI and Tableau, you need to have one of them. But SQL and Excel, yes, you have to. And even with Excel, right? There are other tools in Excel, which probably is not here, but it's also called Power Query. It's also another tool that we also teach, right? We add it to the Excel because it's an Excel or Microsoft product. With SQL, we have different SQL
Flavors.
yes, different ones. We have like Microsoft, we have MySQL, we have Postgres, we have Oracle, name them. There are a few of them. But the main ones that normally you see that it cuts across most companies, MySQL, and then Microsoft SQL, and then Postgres. These three, at least you need to know one of them. The good thing is you can learn MySQL, right? You can learn or Microsoft SQL, or you can learn Postgres. The syntax, the way you write your codes, 90% are the same. 90% are the same. It's just maybe, I'll say 95, maybe 5% that they work differently. You just have to know, not necessarily that is going to be a difficult thing that you might not know. No, you can easily detect it because when you write, it gives you an error message, and then you can read the error and then find out what the exact syntax is, and you can easily do it. We teach all that, show you most of the syntax that might be different based on different Microsoft tools that you actually using. Let me see. I know someone also asked this. I think someone asked a question. So
I think Elsa asked what flavor of SQL we're gonna learn.
oh, okay. So here we'll be doing the Microsoft one, Microsoft SQL, MS SQL. You will see it MS SQL, Microsoft, Microsoft SQL.
Okay. Yeah, and in breaking into this, if you're new, practicing with real world data sets, that is key because you want to make sure that you're learning in a way that when you go out there to work, you won't have issues. Because normally, if you just practice with any data at all, when you go out there, it's going to feel different. So it's good that you practice with real world data sets. Building a portfolio can be good because that's how you can showcase your projects to employers. You can show them what you're capable of. You can talk about these projects in your resume. So that can open good doors for you. Resume and LinkedIn optimization. Of course, when you learn the skills, you have to be able to build a resume, right? And like we were saying before, a lot of times data analytics cuts across almost all industries. So the question becomes, how can I take the data, how can I take the current resume I have now and incorporate the data skills into it? That's what I did when I was going in. I was working in project management and engineering at the time. So I took it and I wrote these data skills into it to make it look like I can do some data analytics work, right? So going back to your question, Lloyd, as that how to break in if you have the degrees and training, but do not have the experience, right? If you don't have the experience, then I normally don't recommend to go for the top jobs when you're coming in. Entry to a low mid-level position can be good. Now, how you do that is building a resume that showcases that at least you can do the work, right? So if you have the degrees and the training, building a portfolio can be very strong for you. If you have had jobs in the past, then you can write some data analytics experience within these jobs and make it look like, okay, in my previous job, I did. Because a lot of times, a lot of us do things that we don't necessarily think has to do with data, but that's an example I gave. Even if every month you sit there, you write out how you spend your money, you write out the budget you have, you analyze where you spent more money, where you spent less money. You're technically doing data analysis, right? So we can look at your job and say, okay, based on this job you had, how can we tailor this to fit a data analyst role, right? We incorporate some of that into your resume for you. If you've never had a job and the education is all you have, then what kind of projects have you worked on in school, right? And the kind of projects that you've worked on, that can be put on your resume. And then you can have a portfolio to back it up. So if somebody clicks on a link from your resume to your portfolio, they can see these different kind of projects and they will know that you're capable. So that is what I would recommend. But if you already have a job experience, then you can tailor it based on the job experience. Yeah. How long should it take for someone to learn all these tools and skills? For someone with no knowledge of these, a complete beginner. A complete beginner, Nana, do you want to take that?
Yeah, okay, good. So yeah, I like that question. That's a great question. I mean, all the questions are great. Yeah, this one, this type of question, I always be realistic with people. You see, it's relative, but I would say between 6 to 9 months with proper scheduling. What I mean by proper scheduling is there are some people who work and then do these classes or trainings, whether in college, whether in boot camps and all that, right? You need to build yourself a schedule. Make sure every day, at least 2 hours, whether you do 1 hour in the morning, 1 hour in the evening, or you do straight 2 hours. Because honestly, the brains after 2 hours, everything that you try to learn or everything that you try to squeeze in is just garbage. So 2 hours a day, and maybe do 5 times a day. If you are able to do this, right, make sure you learn. And then not just learning and reading, but learn to understand. Ask questions. If you have someone who's training you, you know, bombard them with questions. You're going to, let's say, for instance, with SQL, right? Because that is more of logic and programming. Sometimes you get stuck. You write a query and then you realize that it's throwing an error. It's throwing an error. Ask questions, right? Ask questions. But honestly, just as you've asked the question, it takes, to me, if you go with this thing that I just said, making a schedule for yourself, between 6 to 9 months, it might not even this is just an estimate. It could be less, but it could also be more. So just be on the safe side of being neutral with the scheduling that I'm saying. If you do that between 6 to 9 months, you should be good. And then on top of asking questions, ask questions, because the more you learn, the more questions you have. And then whoever is your mentor will be able to answer and then also show you more. These are practical things that I've done, and I've helped a lot of people. So I don't play with the scheduling thing. I always tell my students, make sure you build that, because you cannot take the class today and then after the class you turn off the computer and that's it, and then you wait till the day before the next class and then you tell me that you're going to learn. It's not going to help you. You wouldn't, you not help yourself. So scheduling is something that I always tell my students, and those who normally take that advice excel, and then they easily get it, because I'm going to give you everything that I have, everything that I know, and I'm always there to answer questions. I mean, my team, Clement, is there to help, ask questions. We are ready to help you. So the reason I'm stressing on the scheduling is I always have passion for that, because I always tell my students, if you learn it and then you just put it down and you think you just wait, and then maybe the next day to the class or the day of the class, and then you start learning, that will not do you any good. Yeah.
Yeah, the key is to practice. I mean, this field is It's hands-on. If you learn and you don't practice, you lose it. You need to practice. I think Seth has a question. So he said most professions here in the States require certifications. Are there specific certifications needed for data analytics? I think I said, based on my experience in this field, data analytics is not certification heavy. When I got into this field, I didn't have any certifications at the time. I've seen a lot of people coming in now because data analytics, we don't have thriving certifications. You know how like cybersecurity, if you have their security plus and stuff, you need that to prove yourself. Data, I have a, what's it called? Power BI data analyst certification. Nobody really cares about that certification, to be honest. And I got it last year because I wanted to have something on my resume. But when I got into this field, it was strictly learning the skills, knowing how to use the skills, being able to speak to it in an interview. So far, we haven't gotten to that point where it's like these are certifications that all data analytic professionals need. If you find yourself, like I know Tableau, for instance, have certifications too. If you find yourself in a position where you can get some of those, cool, but it's not a requirement for you to get a job.
Yeah, and then let me add to what Clement just said. So based on Seth's question, yes. So with when it comes to the certification, as you said, yes, it's not something that is required, or without that you cannot get a job compared to the cybersecurity environment. And also with cybersecurity, one thing that I know is you have to be a citizen. Here, right? Right. If you want a government job, right? That one, yes, they require that you have to be a citizen. But if it's on the commercial side, like the hospitals, and no, they don't really require that you have to be a citizen. So in data analytics, or in the data portion of this, that freedom to do certain things. There's no restriction, unlike the cyber side. So yeah, this is just a little thing that I wanted to add to what Clement said.
Yeah, thank you,
I think
Nana.
someone has his or her hand up. I think
Jay,
it's Jay,
do you have
yeah.
a question?
And then after that, we'll come to Roger.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, I just joined. I was busy watching some games over here. But I already went to the website and read everything about the program, so I kind of have the basics of what's going on. But
Mhm.
I just want some clarification. I think I saw the package that include the cell, SQL, Power BI, and all that kind of stuff. Can you guys please elaborate a little bit more about how it does work? I kind of have a little bit background of Excel and SQL, and right now I'm working in the SQL environment right now as a DBA. So
Okay.
I'm trying to broaden my my field and get some data analytics experience. So I just want to know how this program is going to work and how long it's going to take.
Okay, I think for the program part, we have a slide at the end that we are going to talk about the program in general. So we wait till we get there. But in terms of how it works for the tools, I think Nana touched on how, as an analyst, you need to know Excel, because Excel, you can do a lot of simple calculations in there. Power BI and Tableau, that can be built on SQL databases. So as a Power BI developer, for instance, we have a SQL database and an Oracle database that we use. So if you've worked in SQL already, then you know how the data structures and everything works, right? But as a Power BI developer, I need to get the data from our SQL and Oracle databases into Power BI. Normally, if I have to bring the entire data set into Power BI, the data can be very huge. So it can make Power BI very slow for me. So I need to use SQL to query the data that I need from the database into Power BI. When it gets into Power BI, then that's where I'm doing the visualizations, right? So, and somebody has asked about portfolios. So let me use this opportunity to show some projects on our website. So 1 second whilst I bring this up.
So yeah, just whilst Clement is doing. So Jay, you are actually the guy who create the tables. You add column
Yeah.
when I need to request for a column. You are the guy who add those columns into the tables, or if there's a new column to be added to a table, you are actually the guy who does. I'm just kind of telling sharing the things that you do uh for the group.
Right.
And yeah, thanks for that. Yeah, DBAs, I love you guys. I work with you guys a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, Jay, this is an example of a dashboard that I built. So I built this as that same dashboard for uh, my project managers, right? So here I had to go into that SQL database we had and query out the project details, right? So based on this, we in the database we have a transactional data, how much money we are spending on these projects on daily basis, and how much budgets we have for each project details, all of that. So based on this, I was able to read the data and say that, okay, from January till October 2025, how much budget, did we have? So the budget is the blue, and the end value and the actual cost is how much we're spending. So with this, they're able to compare the budget versus the spend for each month, right? They can go into a cumulative curve and be able to see. So they had the blue line as the budget. So this doesn't refresh every day since it's not tied into that database. I had to just build this as a sample for myself. But now you can see up to December of last year, right? They had budgeted 36 million. They did 35 million for the work. If you know project management, you know end value management, right? They spent $37 million. So they spent $37 million to perform $35 million worth of work, which means that right now they have $2 million worth of work to catch up, right? If project managers went in, they wanted to be able to select their name and see that their budgets that they have per category, right? Budget per project manager, how much budget they are managing, how their projects are doing, right? If you're looking at their monthly, how they're doing, and these are their metrics. They wanted to see if they're doing bad, it should be red. If they're doing well, it should be green. And a lot of times when you're doing project management, you're going to see a lot of red. That's the reality of it, right? But this, I had to query this data out of the SQL database in order to build this. So the SQL to talk to each other, right? This is another example of a dashboard that I built. This is a World Cup dashboard. I wanted to track where we are playing World Cup games, goals that countries are scoring. So we can see Brazil has one more, followed by Germany. Profit analysis like this will be something like this. You will tie into a company's database and you have to use SQL to query the data in order to build something like this, right? This, we built it on a CSV file for the class, but in the real world, you're querying using SQL into Power BI to be able to build these visualizations. The CEOs and those big people, honestly, they don't care about the back-end development. They don't care about the SQL statement that you're writing. They want to see the front end, right? This is the fun part that they want to see. They want to see that if they go in, how much revenue have I made? How much expense have I made? How much profit? Honestly, this is the part they care about the most, right? And if they select specific countries, they want to be able to see how much money they are making in each country, if they need to improve specific sales. They care about things like product performance, right? What products are selling more, what products are selling less, if they need to just kill out certain products, if they need to buy more certain products to sell. These are the kind of decisions that they want to make. And in order to make this, the data has to go from the database into a tool like Power BI or Tableau. And that's where the SQL plays a role into this, right? Because you have to, as an analyst, you have to learn how to use SQL to query the data, right? Does that answer your question, Jay?
Yes, it does. And I do have one quick question. That'll be my
Okay.
final one. So, how similar is Power BI compared to SSRS, SQL Server Reporting Services?
Yes. So yeah, SQL Server Reporting Services, I'll say that's Microsoft service or Microsoft product, which
Right.
is the old version. That was even this is before most of these tools came. I've used that before. Yeah, SQL Server reporting services. So and that was a long time ago. I don't think they've even improved it. It's still the same way I think I'm used to. So Power BI, right,
Mm-hmm.
gives you more room in terms of flexibility of how you can build an interactive, dashboards. And in terms of also time-wise, when using both, which one is quicker, which one, gives you more of like a better graph, because the SQL SSAS, let me put it that way. That's
Mm-hmm.
how, yeah, the SSAS is more of a reporting tool, right? Basically gives you, so most of the time I have to do with building the report in the form of table or maybe in form of like pivot kind of structure. This one gives you more of different functionalities, different graphs that you can build, graphs that you can build one graph on one interface and build other one on another interface. So this basically Power BI gives you more flexibility
Okay.
compared to the SSAS.
All right. All right. So thank you so much.
Yeah.
All right. You're welcome. I think so. Somebody has a question here.
Yeah. There's more
Roger.
questions in there.
Roger, I think the volunteer part we can talk about it later, but how many projects do one need for a portfolio? I wouldn't say it matters. I would say even if you have like 2 solid projects on your portfolio, that would be good. If I'm recommending, I would say about 3 can be nice. I mean, you don't want to have too much, but I remember my World Cup dashboard, for instance, this one, right? These were one of the first dashboards that I invested a lot of time in, and it got me a good job, right? I went into an interview. They were like, "We saw this World Cup dashboard you built. It looked very cool. Can you talk to us about it?" Normally, it's gonna be that one solid project that they will see and they're like, "Oh, we're interested in knowing more about this," right? And it kind of depends on your domain too. Like if you work in insurance, like Nana said, build one good insurance dashboard, right? If you're in project management dashboard, like mine, this project management dashboard is one solid uh dashboard on my portfolio, right? So if I'm applying for a job in that domain, I know definitely I can use it to drive an interview, right? So I'll say if you have 3 solid projects, that can be good. If you have more, if you like practicing and you build more dashboards, put them on there, but don't put too much to the extent that somebody has to dig through to find the projects that you're solid on. Or at least if you're gonna put more, put the projects you actually believe in like the top, right? So that if somebody goes in, that's why this is an example of my portfolio. When you come in, the first thing I want you to see is the project performance, right? Because I work in project management, and that's what I want you to see first, if anything, so that we can talk about that. But yeah, I don't think there's a specific number that you need. So Kakra asked, what DevOps engineer, uh, what DevOps engineer with skill set in AWS services, DBA SQL need to integrate transition into the. Okay, I think he's asking that if you're a DevOps engineer with skill set in AWS services slash DBA and SQL, what do you need to transition into a data analyst role? And I'll let you take that one.
So if you already DevOps engineer and blah blah blah, that is a high level. You are way above a data analyst role. Like I said, data analyst role is more of the startup, the basics, right? But yes, I wouldn't be surprised that there are some engineers that might not like the analysis part, because all they do is, creating pipelines, doing ETL processes, all that. So if you have SQL is one. So if you have SQL, it's one of the tools that if you have, yes, you can be a data analyst.
But he's also asking about data engineer too. So he said either data analyst or data engineer.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay,
So-
I didn't see that. Okay, yeah. So with data engineer, right? Data engineer one, you need to have SQL. Yeah, SQL is one, right? You need Python. You also need to understand what ETL processes, extract, transform, and load. Is one of the things that you need to do, because we have ETL developers. You also need to understand how to create pipelines, right? Pipelines basically means that how the data flows from one stage to the other, and then it goes to the destination where you want the data to go. So there are actually so many skills and so many tools that you need to understand in terms of, because to become a data engineer, it's not, how do I put it? It's not like, like, I'm trying to make it simple here. Yeah, being a data engineer, you have to go through a lot of different stages to become a data engineer. Because one of the things that the most thing that data engineers do is the pipeline, creating pipelines. We have different tools that you need to understand how those tools works. But among all, Python and what do you call it? SQL. If you understand those two tools, or if you have those skills, yes, you can easily become a data engineer, because with those tools, you understand how we create data, how we can transform data from one stage to the other, and then you will be able to do different things, like, um, uh, writing, writing a query, right? You write multiple big query to pull data from, what we call the big data. You write different queries to pull data. And then you also needs to understand what we call the data warehouse and data lakes, right? Because the data warehouse basically means that you have the raw data, you transform that data, you clean that data into a data structured warehouse where the data is well structured. So the data analyst can go in and retrieve that data. So most of the things that as an engineer you do is you transform the data from it raw state being dirty, you clean that and then put it in a stage where it's ready for analysis. And then the data analyst will probably take it and then maybe continue to do a little bit of cleaning. That might not be much, because it will depend on whatever requirement he or she has to be able to, do whatever. But yeah, if you want to talk about in data engineering, yeah, it's a big thing that, we can have time or one-on-one to talk more on that. But it entails a lot of experience with different tools, because there are so many things that you have to do, even to get the data into the what do you call it, the destination. That basically you need to understand certain steps. You need to understand certain tools. So there are different tools that you can use, and those tools at the end of the day should give you the results that you need. But like I said, to become a data engineer, that involves a lot, and we can talk about that one-on-one.
Yeah, but honestly, I also think if you're a DevOps engineer, tailoring your resume for a data engineer role can be very easy once you learn the skills involved.
Mhm.
So, yeah, Seth, do you have a question? If you're talking, you're on mute. Seth, you're on mute if you're talking. Okay, I'll continue then.
It's a
Some
bachelor's. Oh, sorry, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
someone asked, do you use Power BI to create this dashboards? Yes, the one I was showing was Power BI. I have another one there that is Tableau, but the specific one I showed was Power BI. I think, Nana, you were taking the other question. Is a bachelor's required to get a job? Which bachelor's is most relevant?
Yeah, so yes, bachelor's degree is not, if you have it, it's a plus. For data analyst jobs, its degree is not required to have. It's basically experience. So if you look at most of the job descriptions, they will say either you have a degree in, let's say, computer science, or this number of years of experience. So yeah, bachelor's degree is not, and then it doesn't really, even if you have a bachelor's degree, it doesn't really matter which degree you have. Some companies, they just want to see that you have a degree because they believe that someone with a degree in terms of learning will be easy or easier than someone with a high school diploma. So, but it's not a mandatory requirement. It's just a plus if you have it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Nana said, I mean, I had my degree in civil engineering. I know Nana had his in accounting. And yeah, once you attach these skills to it, you should be good to go. Somebody said, can you show us the Tableau? The Tableau is this dashboard. It was one of the first dashboards that I built for my portfolio. I just used Airbnb's data from Seattle to just analyze like different zip codes and the average prices, revenue per year for these Airbnbs, market availability based on different bedrooms, So obviously, average price per bedroom was high for a one bedroom and two, so it told me what I needed to see. This was a very simple dashboard that I built. So yeah, Tableau is very easy to do it and just publish it. Power BI, you have to have a license and all of that, but Tableau is easy. Okay, Seth said I need to unmute him. Let me see. I think what is going on. Seth, I can't unmute you, so you have to unmute yourself. If you can't get yourself to unmute, I would say you can drop and join again. I'm only allowed to mute, but I can't unmute. So yeah. So somebody said, okay, with a career gap, can I get a job? What do you mean by career gap? You haven't worked for some time? Lavanya, what do you mean by career gap? Nana, I would let you take this one. Is it necessary to know SAS? I think that's what you were explaining, right?
No, that is different. Yeah, SAS. SAS. So the SAS, do you mean the statistical analytical system, or SAS as in software as a service, which is the AWS? So let's get the probably, okay, so if the A is capitalized, then I mean SAS. SAS, then we're talking about a statistical tools. So that is also a tool on its own that, I mean, right now, SAS, let me see. I don't even remember the last time I saw a job description requiring SAS, but yes, SAS is a statistical tool. So, and it's used mostly by the data scientists. If that is the one that we're talking here, if it's not the software as a service and it's the statistical analytical system, I think that is the full meaning. Yeah. So if it's that one, then yeah, that is something that, yes, you can learn that, but nowadays you don't really get I mean, based on what the environment or where I normally look at job descriptions, I don't see SaaS many in there. But it's a good tool to have.
Okay. Somebody also, Kaka commented, as a software as a service. So, okay. So, going back to that question, no work experience, career gap. So that's what we mentioned. If you have no work experience at all, I mean, based on what, if you've done anything at all in the past, or, normally in our bootcamp, for instance, we build at least a 2 to 3 years of experience for you, so that you come off as you've done the job before, no way at a senior level yet, but you have what it takes to do the job. If you're learning the skills on your own, trying to get in, then if you have no experience, it's two ways. It's either you're faking the experience, or you're building a portfolio, putting the projects that you've built, writing those out on your resume to show that you're a newbie, but these are your projects. Make sure your resume speak of your projects to show that if somebody hires you for an entry level role, you can be able to do it. Okay, so that's what I would say. For the students in our class with no experience, we figure out a way to build that 2 to 3 years of experience for them to go. But if you're learning on your own, work on hands-on projects and make sure you capture that on your resume, because that's how you can get in there. So Elsa asked again, how will AI automation impact the role of data analyst? Do you think it will replace jobs or create new ones? Honestly, I've never been afraid that AI is going to take my job. AI is built on data. At the end of the day, I believe folks in data analytics are going to win in this AI world because we control AI. At the end of the day, like I said, my role as a data analyst in project management is to show up in a meeting and talk to these CEOs and tell them, based on your data, this is what we are doing. They need to come talk to me and tell me that this is what we want you to build for us. This is what we want you to put on your dashboard. The CEOs and all these stakeholders we work with, over 90% of them are not tech savvy people. They don't have time to go sit in an AI environment and type long scripts for AI to create anything for them. So if somebody is going to create a dashboard using AI, they're going to still come to me and tell me that we need you to create this in the AI for us. So at the end of the day, I'm still going to be the guy that bridges the gap for them. So in terms of AI creating new jobs, of course, now the AI engineers and all of that, to be honest, as people in data analytics, all of us are studying to get to the AI level, know what the AI is going to bring. So it's definitely creating new jobs. In terms of taking jobs away, based on the environment I work in, I have never been threatened by AI because I don't think my CEOs are going to go talk to AI to solve problems for them. They need me to solve the problems, And if somebody has to go to the AI, it will be me going to AI, not them. So, and I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
No, you said it all. Yeah, this is something that I get a lot of those questions, and I tell people, maybe in the next 10, 20 years, when the CEOs themselves understand or they know how this data thing works, not until then, yeah, they will always come to, because the thing is, what is AI? I mean, is AI an individual or AI is, because at the end of the day, AI cannot decide, oh, okay, I want to create this, but someone needs to type in something, for AI to give me the results. And always some of the results are not, it might not come out the way you want it. And then also with this AI thing, right, you also need to understand what you're doing before you tell AI the results that you need AI to come up with. So yeah, I don't think that will be possible. I stand to be corrected, but from my experience and what I've seen, I don't see, unless people who basically do a lot of documentation, right? You know, those who do with a lot of documentation, probably, yeah, maybe. But even with that, you still need someone. So this AI thing, fine, it's making things easy, but I don't think it's gonna take your job.
Yeah. Okay, Seth, you said your mic. Before Seth talks, Arthur asked Rich. You said, are these two softwares open source or are they paid? Softwares that we use mostly are free softwares. There's free versions of Tableau, Power BI, SQL, Excel. That's what we use to teach. If you wanna, I know Tableau, you can get the server and pay for it. Power BI, you can get a license if you want. If you choose not to get the license for these tools, you can still learn them very well without having to pay for anything. So, yeah. Seth, we can take your question now before we go to Humble Lion. Seth, if you're talking, we can't hear you. Or if anything, you can also put your question in the chat. We will take it there. Humble Lion.
Oh, I think Nana already answered my question. It was about the degree you need to have before you start working on the data.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Seth, if your mic is still not working, I'll say you can put it in the chat. Or was somebody saying something?
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I wanted to ask about the format for the training, the schedule, and also resources. I don't know what format this training is going to be. Are you going to give us notes to read on our own? Is it going to be discussions? You earlier mentioned, mentoring and all that. So I want to know what format this training will take. And the second is on the schedule. How many times are we going to meet in a week? At what times? So that we can also plan, our times according to the training schedule. Then, like I said, are you going to provide us resources, that we'll have to review before we join training? How is it going to be? Then the last thing I want to say, I want you to clarify is about I see there are series, as you have explained, we need Excel. And I'm wondering what kind of Excel, because I have done some little research about, data analysis, and they all talk about Excel. Is it a regular Excel or special form of Excel? Power BI, SQL, as you mentioned a while ago, I see that you finish with one program and you go on to another program. I need clarification on that. And I have also noticed for Excel, which starts on July 2, you can take that one and take another program and take another program and pay for it. If you can, highlight a bit on that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I guess we will just use the opportunity to talk about that. Was the next slide, but we got so many questions. And like we said in the beginning, the goal of this was to also talk about the data analytics field before we talked about our program. So if people joined and they wanted to just know what data analytics is about, we wanted to be able to provide that for people. But going to our program now, so I think the first question I'll take is the one about if it's the same Excel or different Excel. Yeah, it's the same Excel. It's just that Excel has different built-in functions, right? All of us use Excel at some point, a lot of times for the calculations and all of that. But as a data analyst, there are things like pivot tables, lookup, data cleaning in Excel that you need to know. concatenate, those kind of things. Sometimes if you haven't worked on the data analysis side of Excel, you don't get to use Excel for that. I always say this, my first data analyst interview that I did, I was an engineer. I was using Excel every day. So when I was going in, the job description said that the job is heavy on Excel. So I felt like, okay, I got it. Excel, I use it every day. And I totally blew that interview because they asked me lookups, pivot tables, all of these questions in Excel. And I had no idea what they were. And I was sweating. And afterwards, I felt so terrible about myself. I was like, I can't believe I just failed an Excel interview, right? So normally when somebody tells me I already know Excel, I ask them, do you know the data analysis side of Excel? Because that is very important. That's the type of things you get questions on in interview. But yes, going to the program, we teach the program with Excel, we do SQL, we do Power BI, and we do Tableau. Like we said, if you're a data analyst trying to get into the field, knowing Excel, SQL, and either one of Power BI or Tableau is key. Yeah, Python can be good as well. From my personal experience, Python is something that you can learn when you get into the field. It's easier that way. In my job, I haven't had to use Python. I'm learning it more. I've learned it already. I'm learning it more in order to get to the data engineering level. But as somebody coming in, if you jump in to learn Python, especially if you're not a code savvy person, that can be a discouraging factor. But these skills that we pick, we believe they're easy to learn if you're willing to learn, right? So we learn the Excel first. Each of the classes is 5 weeks long. So we learn the Excel first. We go to Power BI after that. We do Tableau, and then we end with SQL. We end with SQL because that is the coding part of things, right? So we want to make sure that you learn the fun stuff. SQL is fun, like Nana said, it's still English, but a lot of us, we don't like coding pretty much. So we still want you to learn the fun stuff, right? So each class is going to be 5 weeks long. The previous session we did, we taught it on Saturdays, but the new session that we're about to start, the classes will be Mondays and Wednesdays, 7 to 9 p.m. We don't plan to teach for the full 2 hours, but we block that time just so if people have questions, we can always stay back to help. So the classes are taught on Microsoft Teams. This is where we are doing the webinar today. So if you're teaching the classes, it's like this environment. You know, we learn like this, believe it or not. And what we do is all the classes are hands-on classes, right? We don't just give you materials to go read for the class or whatnot. We show up, we practice together, and we also give projects that you can use for your assignments, right? The goal is that when we practice in class, you go take that, you go practice on your own as well, because that's how you become good at it. I think Nana said this in the beginning. If you just show up to class, practice with us, and you go and you don't practice on your own, at that point, you're not trying. If you go to school and you close from class, you go learn, right? That's how it works. Just because this is an adult class and we don't force you to do any homework, it doesn't mean you don't learn. You have to be disciplined. You have to set up a learning schedule for yourself, practice, so that if you have questions, then you can come back to us with these questions, and then we help you, right? That's how you become good at it. So we work with hands-on projects, things that you will do in the real world when you go out there to work. That's what we work with. And then we have our mentorship sessions, which is separate. The mentorship, we're going to do it on Saturdays, 10 to 12. That is going to focus on the career coaching aspect of things, right? So resume building help, interview prep. Sometimes if we have to work on additional projects that we may not be able to do in class, we do it at the mentorship. If you have questions beyond the class, anything that you need help with, you can bring it into the mentorship and get your answers in the mentorship. So mentorship is a great aspect of the course as well. We have students that sometimes they will be in the field already, so they just want to learn the skills. They come do the skills. That is totally fine. But if you want to get into the field and you're coming in, then we recommend that you don't just learn the skills, you take advantage of the mentorship as well, right? So 3 days a week with us, and we recommend learning on your own as well. You can take all of them together. We've had students that come in and just learn particular skills, especially with the Power BI and Tableau. We normally get a lot of students who come to just learn those two as well. That is totally fine. We are totally flexible with that one. Now, this is how the payments work and the schedule, like I said. So Excel, we are going to do Excel from July 2nd to July 30th. We're going to graduate into Power BI from August 4th to September 10th. Then we do Tableau from September 15th to October 15th. And then we do SQL from October 20th to the week before Thanksgiving, all right? Now, what we're going to do, the Thanksgiving week, we're going to be off. But when we come back in December, we added 2 more weeks in December that we are going to do review sessions. So if you learn something in July, very likely by December, you're forgetting stuff. So we want to do a review session and go over how all the tools tie together, right? Because sometimes you might learn the skill, you're like, okay, this is doing that, this is doing this, this is doing that. How do they all come together? So we put in sessions to do that as well. Like I said, Mondays and Wednesdays will be the classes. The mentorship is going to happen on Saturdays. Payments, these are the individual payments. Excel is 200, Power BI and Tableau is 300 each, SQL is 250. We charge 600 for the mentorship. The mentorship, though, doesn't have a specific start and finish dates, which is why you didn't see it on here. Because what we do with the mentorship is that once you enroll, you can stay in there until you decide to drop off. So even if the class ends, you can be in a mentorship and we'll continue to help you until you get a job. And if you get a job and you still want to be in a mentorship, if you go to work, you struggle with anything, so you want to be able to come back and get more help, the mentorship is open for that. We don't cap it. We don't kick you out of the mentorship. You can be in there for as long as you want, because we've all been in this process before. Even if you get a job and you don't have somebody in your corner that you can ask questions, it can be hard sometimes, right? So we make sure you can stay in the mentorship as long as you want for that. I think somebody asked, is there a payment plan? Yes. The food program we have, we offer a 3-month payment plan. So if you submit a payment, it will just be 500 per month for 3 months. And then after that, we also repeat classes. So if you take the classes, this part I don't like to tell students because we don't want you to be laid back. But if you do the classes, let's say from this July to December, and you feel like you didn't learn the way you wanted to, you feel like you didn't get enough for the class, you can come back during the next January session we're going to do. You can enroll again for free. The students that did it from January to now, they have the option to enroll again for free and learn the skills. Even if you learn very well, if we finish this session in December and you're still out there looking for a job, we recommend that you can enroll in the next program we're going to do. Advantage is you get to refresh your mind, right? Whilst you're looking for a job, you don't push the skills off and then forget about things, right? So you can still be in the program, still refresh, but we also record the classes. So you have a lifetime access to the class. You can always go in and learn when you need to. Theo, do you have a question? I saw your hand up.
Yeah. Hello?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So is like a recommendation.
I just wrote down my work.
Yeah. So
I try to listen.
I did like DBA.
Okay.
Oscar?
Yeah, but
Oh no, that's not my boy.
I didn't like audit. Like I didn't do Excel.
Okay.
Yeah, I did like SQL, and then I used her name oh I use this name. I just forgot right now. Oracle.
Oracle, okay.
to do everything. So I was like so confused. Like Oracle is so hard. Oracle,
Mhm.
they're so hard. So I started doing it. I was like, okay, so it's so easy. So I can move from like this interface to this interface. So I think like it's good. Like so like we should do like Excel, and then we should do Power BI, and then that would go like I not do like research about about this. So like if you know like all do this thing, like it will help.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. So you can pick and choose classes that you want to take, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Okay, so I know Excel, but I want to like do Excel again. I know Excel because I did banking and finance back home. I did
okay,
like accounting, so I use Excel.
Yeah.
okay,
But I want to like do like more, like I want to like know more about Excel.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you reach out to us, we will tailor what you need per the classes. We can take out the classes that you don't need, and I mean, you can just pay for what you
No,
need instead of
no.
everything.
I want to do like I want to do like everything
Everything.
again. Like yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Okay. Cool.
All right.
Is this the Theo I know?
Is this
Oh,
the two
Yes.
in our class?
yeah, because it sounds
Yes.
like. Oh, okay,
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
okay.
So you already know. So okay,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I did um this thing, like so like it's so like when I moved to this Excel on Microsoft, I was like, wow, it's so easy because I was doing it on
The Oracle.
this Oracle, like it was so difficult, and then I'll be writing like copy and paste, like it was so like
Yeah, Oracle
difficult.
is yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Oracle is so like because
Yeah.
I know about Windows, and then I know for Apple, but Oracle is like it's like yeah. So like if you like do it like I don't know, so
Yeah.
like everyone to learn about this whole thing, and then it's good.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you've been in our SQL class, so uh you've know how the classes work. So yeah, we can definitely enroll you in the rest of the classes. Let me take Nana Mankwe. So Victor, how do you register for the classes? We will bring that up in a bit. Somebody said, what does CYC stands for? Conquer your career. That's what CYC stands for. You know, it was the best name we could come up with at the time. But yeah. So Nana Mankwa, the things that you listed, right? And you said, where does Power Query fall in there? If you want to bring data out of different systems into Excel, so if you have a SQL database or any type of database, if you want to bring data from a website into Excel, you can use Power Query to run these queries from these places. And then you can clean and do different things in Power Query and bring that data into Excel, right? So in our Excel class, we don't go so much details into Power Query, but Power Query is built, the same Power Query in Excel is what works in Power BI. So when we get to Power BI, that's when we learn this Power Query into so much detail. But normally, once we learn it in the Power BI, we tie it back into Excel to show you how that works. So yeah, Power Query, if you want to connect Excel to different sources, that's where Power Query comes into play. So the data cleaning, analysis, visualization can still happen, but the Power Query will bring the data. Just like Power BI, you use Power Query to bring the data into Power BI, and then you visualize the data in the front end of Power BI. So yeah, I hope that answer your questions. So I think Aziz, is it the same Aziz in the SQL class too, or different?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Aziz, do you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So I enrolled in SQL in a previous class, and I wanted to do the full program, like even before you got to this point. So am I still going to pay 1,500 or what? And also
No. Uh,
with the Power BI, so you talked about you have to be certified. So are you going to prepare us for the exams or what?
You don't. So you don't have to be certified in Power BI. I was just saying I got a certification last year because I wanted to get something, but that Power BI certification is not, honestly, is not a very popular certification. But I can give you resources to, I mean, the hands-on is a little different. I don't know. I think it's like that with all Microsoft
Okay.
certifications. The hands-on can be a little different when you go to take the certification. So I have this question Q&A resource on Udemy that I use. Is like 500 questions. Once we learn the Power BI, when you go take those questions, it will make more sense to you. If you want to take that uh, certification, I can give you that resource and you can practice with those questions and go take the exam. So yeah.
And also like my job, I usually work on second shift. So so how am I going to adjust? Is it that I have to come and watch the recording or?
Yeah, so if that's something you want to do, then the options we've given to people normally is you can watch a recording. If you have issues, we can schedule sessions to go through any issues you have. We are open for one-on-one sessions. So when we do the class, the learning doesn't stop there. We've scheduled one-on-one session with students several times to do it. But in that case, I would say we can talk after this and then figure out how we can build a plan for you. And
Okay,
also,
thank you very much.
yeah, you're welcome. The first question you asked about, since you're in the SQL class, you don't have to pay for the SQL again, so we will take that cost off. But I guess since we weren't doing testimonies today, but since you're in our SQL class, how do you feel about the class? Do you,
Because I
yeah,
had no experience writing queries, but with you and the nuts, like that's how like I call him. With you and the nuts giving us guides and all that, I feel more confidence trying to do more because I had no experience. Like when I was trying to enroll, Nana Tevye was talking to me. I was like, no, I don't know what to do. And he'd be like, that you can do it. So one time, an assignment he gave us, and I was able to do it. So he was like, yeah, you can do it. So I think practicing more would
Yeah.
help us all to get better.
okay. Thank you for that. I'm glad you've had a good experience in the class too. Good stuff. So,
But I know
is it,
before I think
yeah.
Sheriff or something. Yeah. Before that, someone asked, "What is $600 for?" Can you explain that?
That is the mentorship part of it. So as I said, we have the classes that you can take, and the mentorship part is what focuses on the career coaching. So helping you build resume, interview prep, all of that. We do it as a separate session that we're going to do that on Saturdays. If you don't need a mentorship and you just want to learn the skills, you can. But if you want to do mentorship and get that career guidance and getting your foot in the door, that is what the 600 is for. And as I mentioned, the mentorship doesn't have a specific start and end date. You can be in there for as long as you want until you're ready to leave and go work on things on your own. So
Yeah, I
yeah,
got a question, sir.
yeah, go
I
ahead,
got a
Sharif.
question. Hey, if you got laid off from your job, and you want to start this program, how will you be able to pay this?
Okay, somebody has a radio in the background. Okay, I think that's good now. So you said if you got laid off from your job,
Yeah, how will I be able to start the program?
okay, I think I'm trying to understand the question. What do you mean? How will you be able to start?
So I was saying that like I was working at I had a job I was working at and I got laid off, but
Okay.
I don't have like a job that I'm doing right now because of it's been kind of hard getting jobs lately. But I just been doing like side hustles on the side to just keep the money coming in a little bit. It's just little money just coming in. It's not big money like how I was doing it at a job. So I think the job market is kind of like slow. They're not really hiring a lot of people. So yeah,
Yeah.
I'm in that position right now. But I'm trying to like start something new. This is probably something new to do. But
Yeah.
the startup fee right now, it's gonna probably take me a little bit of time to come up with 200 because I ain't got 200 right now, but I can try to get it though. It'll take a little time though. But how do people start this program without a job though?
So if you're talking about the money part, I would say contact us. We will see what plan we can build for you. In terms of, if the question is, how can you get a data analyst role if you're laid off right now? Then that's the part where we do the resume optimization for you and put the data analytics skills into your resume for you to make it seem like, okay, you've done some work before in data analytics, and that will increase your chances of landing a job. So I think I answered the question in two ways, but if that answers your question.
Okay. But like if I want to start the program, like I think it says the program starts July 2nd.
Next week, yeah.
So like, what if I don't have the funding for the program? Like if I want to start.
I would say contact me and let's discuss that. Okay.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really want to start something new. I guess like I went to school for automotive technology,
Mhm.
and I don't know what is going on, but I can't get a job. So I don't know what's going on with that. I've been trying to get a job, and people have been telling me work here, but every time I apply, I don't hear from the companies. So
Okay.
it's like people want me to work at like the local stores like Walmart, um, uh, Jewels, or work somewhere that I can make money. But that's not really making money though. That's like making big
Yeah.
check. I'm not trying to work there. I'm trying to work big check. I'm trying to work where I can be living good. Not working at like Jewels or AutoZone. I used to work at AutoZone, but the money is just small. It's small money. It's not big money.
Right. Have you worked with any mentor or somebody to look at your resume for you while you're applying? I know that can also make a lot of difference.
I have took this job agency. It's like a little class. I had to attend around February, and they was looking at my resume, but they told me to use Chat GBT.
Mm,
Chat GBT
yeah.
kind of like fix up your resume a little bit to make it sound better.
Okay.
Or maybe I can just send you
Yeah.
my resume. You can look at it, man.
Yeah. I would say we can look at your resume for you as well. I mean, you don't have to pay anything for that. And see if we can make any adjustments. I'm definitely not an automotive expert, but if I look at resume, I can still give you some good feedback if you have to make tweaks in there. Nana also has a lot of experience, so he can look at it too. And then we give recommendations. I mean, even if you're doing the class, if you still learn something in that field and you just want to learn these skills on top of that, that can
Yeah.
be good. But we want to make sure either way we can help you one way or the other.
Okay. So with the automotive, I have the automotive. The only thing I have with the automotive, I never had the technical side experience. The only experience I have is working at a retail, working at a warehouse where we have to do inventory work. But I never really had a job in the technical field. Like if you come in to get your oil change, I have never did that at an auto shop. But I did it when I was in school. They taught us that,
Okay.
but on the field, I never did it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. And how long has it been since the school? Is it recent?
Oh no, I graduated a while back. But it's just been hard. It's like who
Okay.
you know job.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, we can. I mean, let's talk about it in the background, see how we can help you get this done. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Sharifa, too, do you have a question? Your hand is up.
Yeah, I have a question. So my question has to do with the interview prep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, I can hear you.
So I wanted to ask about the interview prep. So how is it like? I wanted to know if it's like one-on-one or if it's in a group. So for instance, if I have an interview, like do you do one-on-one so that you prep me for the interview? Because I know the interview can be very challenging. That's the like
Yep.
the
Yeah.
deal breaker for you. Even
Yeah.
after doing all these courses and you have the experience, if you can't talk on the interview, you're not going to get the job. So
Yeah.
I just wanted to know how the interview prep is like.
It's both. We do group sessions and we do one-on-ones too. So, and like I said, beyond the classes that we do, we offer those one-on-one sessions. And to be honest, we always encourage the students to take advantage of it, right? Sometimes we feel like the students are not taking advantage of it enough. So if you feel like you have an interview session coming, you have an interview coming up, even if you don't have anything scheduled for that and you want to get some practice in, talk to us. We will schedule a session to do that with you. And to be honest, both of us, like Nana does that a lot too. We've helped people that are not necessarily in our class, right? So if you're in that class, in our class, then you get more advantage. So yeah, it doesn't have to be the group sessions only. We're always available to do more sessions, do more practice with you. And you're definitely right. If you, no matter how much you know, if you can't show up in an interview and confidently talk, it will be hard to get a job, right? So it's something that we also help students work on too. And we believe with the practice that we do, if you go to an interview, then it can at least feel the same. Because honestly, I think that's the biggest issue that discourage people from getting to that final goal. One interview, two interviews, three interviews. If they can't get a job, they give up. But the more interviews you do, interview is a skill, right? The more you do, the more you become good at it. And you have us as your mentors. You can get tips from us. You can build that confidence with us. And once you go out there, you can go smash it. Okay. So yeah, does that answer the question for you? Both one-on-ones and group sessions.
Yes, it does.
Yeah. Okay. Uh, Conan said, can we pick any class and go for it? Another question is, do you think we can be an operation data analyst with SQL and Excel only? You can pick any class and go for it. Like we said, if you already have some of these skills already, you don't have to come do all the classes. You can just do the ones you want. Can you be an operations data analyst with SQL and Excel only? It depends, right? If you're working in a field and your job requires only Excel, that's cool. You can do with Excel only. If it requires only SQL, you can. But if you're not trying to get in, then I would say at least put Power BI or Tableau on top of it, because Power BI or Tableau will give you that visualization experience. So that will increase your chances more. If you haven't learned any of those skills already, adding one of them can boost your skills so much instead of just the Excel and SQL. And then I don't know if you have anything to add to it.
Yeah. So before that, can you put our info, because I know some people are asking for the info. Yeah. So currently, right? Currently, yeah, at least you should have one BI tool, like one visualization tool. But before, if you have even Excel, yes, you can become a data analyst. But now with the way the dynamics and the trend, how things are going, if you have SQL and Excel, yes, you can do it. But to be on top over, other students who are also applying, if you have at least one visualization tool added to SQL and Excel, you'll be good. Yeah, but not to say, you cannot get a job with SQL and Excel. Yeah, you can get a job with SQL and Excel. It's just that if you have one visualization tool, it becomes a plus.
Yeah. Okay. I think so. Contact info. So Crystal said, is LinkedIn setup included? Yes, we do that as part of
Mhm.
the mentorship too.
Yeah.
Resume, LinkedIn setup, everything, pretty much everything that will help you get there. And sometimes if we have something that is not necessarily in the curriculum for the mentorship, and you feel like you need that to help you get there, bring it up. We will be more than willing to help you do that. So that's something we always encourage the students to do is like, you don't always have to wait for us to tell you what to do, right? You can take the initiative if you feel like, hey, I need this. I think it's gonna help me land a job, but it's not part of what we're doing here. We'll be willing to help you do that. We are very flexible, and the class we always tell them is a family, right? When you show up, we treat it as a family, not just instructors and students, right? So, yeah. Donna, do you have a question?
I do, thank you. So my question is more towards the mentorship. I'm currently in a master's program for cybersecurity and data analytics, and I'm starting that program in a couple of weeks. So my question is, for the mentorship part, can we pay for the mentorship and not do the rest of the program since I'm already in a master's program?
Yes, you can. You can do the mentorship alone.
Okay.
Uh, I've had a lot of students come back from master's programs and tell us it's not hands-on though. So that's something I would
Mhm.
say, yeah, you can, but then once you start the master's to ask them and make sure you're going to be doing a lot of hands-on practice in there. I mean, every school's program is different.
Right.
We've had few students that can come back from a master's program and they still do our classes because they claim is a study by yourself. It's not a lot of hands-on in there. So you
Mhm.
go through it without having that hands-on experience. So yeah, but whatever you decide to do, we are flexible.
Mhm.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think,
Thank you.
no,
Appreciate that.
yeah, you're
Yeah.
welcome.
Yeah, so just to add a little bit, yeah, this class we're more flexible. We actually make things easy for people. We don't want to stress
Mhm.
people that much. And with the mentors, actually, before this is the genesis of this whole thing. Before that, we're doing more of mentorship, right? We had people who have been through boot camps and they don't have people to help them. So that is how I started, trying to help people to get on the field. So I started this mentorship thing and it blew like people love it because they've done the class, they don't know, they don't have a way of getting into the field. So I started that, and yeah, that is the reason why we added this mentorship thing to this whole class thing, because we know there are a lot of students or people out there who have taken their classes somewhere but they don't have direction. So we
Right.
decided
And I
to do.
Yeah, I think I may be one of those people because
Yes, yeah,
I'm coming out of a totally different field where I was doing diversity, equity, and inclusion and affirmative
okay.
action, where I've worked in Excel with
Mm-hmm.
data quite a bit.
Okay.
But this is like new for me in terms of the technology field in this sense.
Mm.
And so for me, I'm changing careers and think that just having the mentorship would be of real value to me. And maybe down the line, focus on, since I'll be in school, and focusing on that, maybe down the line, focus on some of the other classes that you are providing.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the background, so Nana has always done the mentorship. Me, I was teaching the classes without the mentorship. It was just show up, learn the skills, and just take it from there. And like I said in the beginning, for those of you who weren't on, Nana is the one who helped me get into this field. I think it was 2020. We went for a cookout,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
But yeah, late 2019, I think early 20,
yeah,
just before, yeah, right before the
yeah,
COVID. Yeah.
we went for a cookout. We were just having a normal conversation, and Nana talked to me about data science. At first, I thought scientists were people who just do things in a lab. The regular scientists we know. So when Nana said he does data science and he's a data scientist, I was like, what is a data scientist? So, Nana introduced me to a lot of good resources that helped me get into this field. I started teaching because I enjoy teaching. I think it's my God-given passion. And I wanted to retain the skills. because I realized that the more I teach, the more I learned, the more I became good at it. So I was just teaching the skills at the time. So a lot of the students that I would get wanted me to help them with the mentorship part. So I partnered with Nana to, bring his part of his experience and his mentorship and everything that he brings on board, and then combine that with some of the teaching skills I have as well to help people. So I can definitely tell you, some of our students are on here who said it. We didn't plan anything with them. That's why I'm not a big fan of just sending students to give testimony and make it look like we're making sales. The goal of this was to give you guys information, but some of our students stepped in to talk about this as well. So definitely a good thing. So yeah, project examples, I think I already showed you that. I said I have a gift for you guys at the end. From today through the end of tomorrow, if you sign up for the class, you can get 10% off. So you can use this CYC Web 10 code. It's going to expire tomorrow evening. Please don't call me on Monday telling me that you didn't sign up. If you've already signed up and you didn't get the discount, we will work to, if you're on here, let me know. We will work to provide you a refund of that 10% if you've already signed up. So how to sign up? I think some people were asking that. So let me go to our website here and show you how you can sign up. If you go under the data tab, and I'm going to put the link in here for you guys. If you go into the data tab here, we have, what the program is about. And then we have the courses here. So like I said, you can enroll in specific courses. The combined package, if you go in here, you click the enroll, it opens this up for you so you can choose to pay the full amount, or you can choose to do the payment plan for that 3 months. If you go to that, add a discount code here. Where is the discount code that I just clicked on? Okay, add a discount code here. If you do CYC Web 10, it's gonna give you that 10% off, so you can take advantage of that. So yeah, there's a form that we fill out, but if you enroll, let me know. You can either access the form here, course registration form, or if you enroll, I'll just send it to you to register. We're gonna close the enrollment by Monday night because the classes will start on Wednesday. So we want to make sure we have Tuesday to prepare for the students, because we have to send class links out and everything to make sure like we're on board. So after Monday, enrollment will be closed. So if for some reason you want to sign up or you're having issues signing up by Monday, you can contact us directly. I put my number on here, so you can contact us. I'm going to put it in the chat as well, and you can shoot us a text or direct call. Anything works. We can get you set up. I think Jay, do you have a question? I saw Theo's hands up as well, but Jay, you can go first.
Just let you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so just a quick clarification. So for the discount, is it for the whole package or just for individual class?
It should be for the whole package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it should be for
No,
the
the discount
package.
is for the whole package. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it doesn't apply to the individual classes, right?
No.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Good. How are you?
Yeah. Theo.
Theo, do you have a question?
Yeah. So I did the SQL, so I want to like pick like SQL. Like I want to know the So hold on, let me see. Okay, it's done. Okay, so
I think I know I know Theo's question. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I know his question. Yeah. Yeah. Theo. Yeah.
No.
We've made a what do we call it, provision for you guys, because I know Joe is
Yeah.
probably saying that he did the sequel, so if he's gonna do the package, is he gonna be, yeah, we'll give you
Yeah.
a
All right.
discount.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So uh, I'll put Nana
I
tomorrow
think
and then
somebody,
make.
if you're not talking, can you please mute yourself? I think we're getting feedback from somebody. I think that is, yeah. Go ahead, you.
Yeah. So I'll call you tomorrow and then
Yeah. Okay.
we'll forget each
Okay.
other. Okay. All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So now, like, I just took off all my my this is for my app right now. I this is for my machine. All right.
You said, I think I didn't get the last part. If
Yeah.
you can,
Because I will use it what's the name, like always, like this Oracle. So I just took off like everything because like
okay.
it don't happen, like it's not like helping me. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just took off like, or because like my Oracle I'll be using, like it's so like complicated, like off rock.
Hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
All right.
for sure. Yeah, we will talk tomorrow and get you set up.
All right. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Does anybody have any more questions? I don't see any hands
Sorry.
up. Go ahead.
Oh, was I supposed to raise my hand?
It doesn't matter. You're good.
Okay. Sorry, I just joined the class. I joined late. I just got back. I had a showing. I just got back and I heard something about discount.
Yeah.
Oh,
So we did say that for showing up to the webinar and spending time here, we are giving a 10% discount of the class. It runs through tomorrow night. For those of you who joined late, I'm gonna send out this recording, by the way, to everybody
okay.
that
Right.
registered so you receive it. But yeah, if you go in to make payment, if you use this, it's gonna give you 10% off of the program.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
That's $150 that can buy a lot of things.
Sure.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Bisola, I like your name, by the way.
Thank you.
Are you Nigerian?
Yes, I
Okay,
am.
nice. I promise you, the Nigerians on here, we don't argue about jollof in class. Okay, I
You told
promise
me
you
this
that.
on WhatsApp
We
also.
we don't argue about. We don't do the jollof argument. I promise you
That's
that.
good. That's good. Because we're here for business.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
last time I was talking to this guy and I said that, and he was like, "Yeah, if you bring the jollof, you're gonna talk about how Ghanaians eat eggs every day." So I was like, let's not go there. So
They eat like 10 eggs every day. But we're not going there. We just
yeah.
don't worry, I'm Ghanaian with that egg part. Yeah, because I eat a
Oh,
lot of
okay.
eggs too.
Okay.
So
Yeah. No
Right.
jollof arguments. I
Okay, that's
promise.
great. Good to know. Good to know.
All right.
Yeah.
I think NAFTA, is that the name? I'm sorry if I
Yeah,
pronounced
that's
it wrong.
correct.
Okay.
Yeah,
Hello.
NAFTA.
What is
So,
your question?
my question is, if you take
Hello.
the whole package,
Yeah.
does the mentorship begin once you finish all the classes, or the mentorship is ongoing as you take the classes?
The mentorship will begin on July 5th. So next week, Saturday. So yeah, it starts with the classes because we don't want you to finish all the classes and then you come back. So right now we have students that are finishing up the class. The mentorship will be more intense for them once the class ends. But at least once you get started, we still want you to show up to the mentorship sessions, see what we are doing, so that you get fired up. It will help you get more information from the beginning. If you're doing like group interview preps, group project building, all of that, we still want you to be there. At the time, normally, once you start the class during the Excel, Power BI, after the Power BI is when you will start understanding a lot of these things we're doing on the mentorship, because from the beginning, unless you have that background already from the beginning, it might feel like it's all over the place, but at least you get to see what we're doing and it puts you in a better position. So yeah, we start right away. Does that answer the question for you?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Theo, did you have a question?
Before someone asked if we could not register on Monday, when could be the next registration session?
If you're doing the full package, then I mean, once we start, it will go through December, so that in January. But if you wanna enroll in individual classes, yeah, after that. So Wednesday is the Excel class. We will still have enrollment open for all our other classes. The mentorship, it doesn't have a specific start and end date, so you can join anytime. So yeah, that would just be for the Excel class. If you have a reason why maybe you can't do it by Monday, but you still want to join, let me know. We can make accommodations for that if you're willing to join. But yeah, normally when we get a lot of requests at the last minute, it becomes hectic because you gotta set people up and send them class links and everything. That's why we're closing on Monday. But you can still register for classes. If it's not allowing you, just let us know. Bisola, did you have another question? I saw your hand go up.
Yes. I actually had two questions, but you kind of already asked one of it about the classes. I wanted to ask, but you already gave the answer to that. So my second question will be, I know on the website, if I'm not wrong, it says that you can do instrumental payment, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. How does that work
Yes. So let me
for the full
share.
package?
Yes. So if you go in here, under the these course details, you can scroll down or you can just access it from here. If you do the enroll here on the payment page, it gives you the payment plan. So you can do either the full or you can do the payment plan. It's a 3-month payment plan. So you can just you pay the first one up front. And I was showing that the discount code we gave today, if you put it here and hit apply, it takes off that 150 for you and break the rest into 3 payments.
Okay.
So,
Okay. Good. Okay.
yeah,
Good. Thank you.
you're welcome. I think I don't see any more hands up, and I don't see any more questions in the chat. Does anybody have a question? I hope
I
today's
actually have another question.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Okay. I know the mentorship start because you said that I start on the 5th. So for someone that does not have any background in Power BI, SQL, none of this, and they're looking to get a job like as soon as they can, when do you think will be the best time for them to start applying? Because I know when you apply also, you don't get jobs immediately. It takes a while. So
Right.
when do you think is the best time to start applying when you start the class?
I would say at least at the end of the Power BI class. So we do Excel first, we'll do Power BI. So that's like 2 months in. At that point, I think once we get through the Power, because Tableau is similar to Power BI. So once you learn Power BI, going into the Tableau class, is the same concept with different tools, right? So at that point, if the SQL, I mean, we have class recordings and stuff, but we can get you introduced to SQL just so you kind of have an idea of what it is. But at that point, you kind of have a good idea of the skills.
Okay.
So yeah.
Okay. And are the classes weekdays or weekends, evenings, or how does
Yes.
it? Yeah.
So let me share this one again. This is what the schedule is gonna be like. So we're gonna do Monday evenings and Wednesday evenings, 7 to 9. Personally, when I'm teaching, I don't like to go all the way to 9. Normally, a good 1 hour session is good, but we extend the time just so if people have questions after the class, they
Okay.
can ask. And then we do the mentorship on Saturdays, 10 to 12. And then this will be the schedule as we go. All the classes will be done by the week before the Thanksgiving. We just added 4 sessions in December to just do reviews at the time.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, good. Okay.
And I think this is also on the website as well. Man, I have a lot of things open. On the website, if you go to the course timelines, we have those details here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can check it out.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any more questions? Yeah, if you
Yeah, I have a question, but I want to find out that right after the class, can we call to seek some clarification?
yes, sure. You can call me
Okay,
anytime.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. No more questions. And if you arrive late when I send the recording out, at least you can watch the first part. That's where we talked about the whole data analytics and what goes in, how to get in there and all of that. I think that can be very good information for you either way. So Dennis, I see your hand up.
Yes, I was going to wait for the recordings. I joined late, but I want to ask, do you have like a self-paced resource where we learn before the class? Maybe you would have answered this already, but I joined late. Before the sessions, do you have like a self-paced where we work through the program and then when it's time for the session, we go through what we've already learned?
So if you want access, so we did this from January to now. I think students wanted to learn more, so we actually extended the sessions. If you want access to those class recordings, yeah, if you're part of the class, we can give you access to all those class recordings so that you can learn before you come in. Advantage is the one that we're going to do now. The one we did before the classes were only Saturdays. So the one we're going to do now, since we have 2 days a week, we'll be able to definitely learn more. So that's what I was saying. We allow students to repeat the classes. So we've encouraged all the students from the previous class to enroll in this whilst you're looking for jobs. So yeah, if you want access to those, we can give you access to those.
Yeah, I get that. Those are class recordings, but what I'm asking
Yeah.
about is, do you have an LMS where students are able to go on, which are not like class recordings?
Yeah, we haven't finished building that yet. That is still something that we have in the pipeline. So hopefully it's our end of year goal. Hopefully we can achieve that. But for now, no, we haven't structured that yet. So the classes recording is what we have for now.
All right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right.
Clement, can I ask a question? I think my question is related to the last questioner.
Okay.
My experience here is that, unlike where we came from, before you go to class, you are given a material to review, and that helps, so you have an idea, and once you get to class, you have a better picture of whatever is taught or discussed. So I guess the questioner was asking, something in that line, which I asked earlier, but yeah, I think this is a better clarification to my earlier question. So if you can respond to that.
What I would say is for our classes, I guess we do it the way around. Because normally when we teach, we give assignments and we highly encourage students to go practice what we taught, right? So if we have that 2-hour session, when you come in, it's not an expectation, but at least I encourage you to come with questions based on what we learned. We don't give students advanced things, because a lot of these things are hands-on practice that we're going to be doing. And with these hands-on practice, I prefer that you show up and we learn it together. And then afterwards, you go practice what we learned, right? So that at least you're not over confusing yourself trying to learn something that we haven't done already. So yeah, if we are hoping to setting that up to provide resources to practice before class, but personally, I would rather you practice what we learned. And definitely for the students who practice, they definitely come up with a lot of questions, always. So if we practice something in class and you come back and you have a lot of questions, that means that if you find yourself practicing things we haven't learned already, then you can be in trouble, right? So yeah, Nana, if you want to
Yeah.
add anything to that.
Yeah. So yeah, though Dennis and Seth, yeah, good questions, great questions. And like you said, I like that you made reference to where we came from. Yes, that is how we've been taught, and that is how we've done things, right? Which is not a bad thing, it's a great thing. But from this industry, what we've seen and what I've seen, it's like a lot of times when students learn before they come to the class, right? Some of them, I'm not going to say all of them, because maybe Dennis and says you probably are unique, right? So what they do is, because they've actually read the prior note or the curriculum that we give prior to the class, when they come, they don't really practice a lot. They don't really listen to what we're doing, because that is something that I've seen a lot. Because I can give you Tableau or SQL outline where you can practice, or you can learn before the class. But a lot of times that is what I've seen. A lot of the students, because they do that prior learning before coming to the class, they don't really pay attention to the practical things that we do. So at some point, I had to stop giving that brochures or those materials before the class. So that is the reason why we had to. But then if you want, that's fine. Yeah, we can get you that before. But I mean, Tableau and SQL, yeah, we can give you when we get to that class, we can give. But with Excel and Power BI, I'm not sure we have that currently, but we can basically do something, get you some ahead of class lessons before the class starts.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Okay. Yeah. I
Thank you
know.
very much,
I think
Naniteria.
Morgan. Oh, sorry.
I think somebody was saying something.
Yeah, I think Dennis was. Yeah, Dennis, you can go ahead. Sorry.
Yes, I was saying I've actually had experience in this, and
Mm-hmm.
what you're saying is exactly true. I've joined boot camps,
Mm-hmm.
and we started with Excel and all that. And when you learn something before you go to class, you don't
Mm-hmm.
pay attention. So the
Yep.
next ones, I did not join the class. I did not do the LMS.
Mm-hmm.
I joined the class straight away and then
Yeah.
came back.
Mm-hmm.
But the positive thing behind that is when
Mhm.
you miss something, because you have like topics in the LMS, you can
Yeah.
directly go back to where you are missing in
Yeah.
the LMS. You get
Mhm.
the point, and then go
Yes.
to,
Yes.
instead of say having a 2 or 3 hours class, it will be
Mhm.
sometimes difficult to check exactly where you missed the point. But
Yeah.
then if you have like an exact topic in say
Mhm.
Excel, you want to do a VLOOKUP, then you can just directly go to the VLOOKUP
Yeah.
session
Yeah.
and then do a recap. That's
Yeah.
why I asked.
Yeah. Good. Good. Yeah. I mean, we'll probably consider that. Yeah. I mean, definitely. It's not. We all do things differently. So we took it off, but it seems like you've also given a valid reason, so we can bring it back. The only thing is, like I've always been stressing, telling my students, practice, practice, practice. I've had this section, the last section we had before this, which we ended this today. I had a student who, not only one, a few of them, who had zero knowledge of SQL or any of these tools. And I told them that we're gonna help them. What they need to promise me that they're going to learn. They're going to build a schedule and then follow the process. And it has worked. One guy who had no knowledge in coding, he didn't even know how it is done, right? Now we did, even today, we did a last project, and he was one of the guys who were answering questions because he understands it now. He proved to me that yes, now because he had zero knowledge, and because I always believe in the practical aspect when we're doing, hands-on, let's all do it. We make mistake, we figure it out, then we move on. That is my way of teaching. We teach, we make mistakes, we all work it together, we all find it, we move on. And that has been the way I have gotten a lot of people on the field or working and enjoying. But yeah, Dennis and Seth, I will reconsider your position or reconsider your recommendation, and then yeah, we can start doing that. It doesn't hurt anything. Yeah, it also, we all learning. We are all family here. That is the word we always tell our students, we are all family. So yeah, thanks for the recommendation. I think Morgan, and then we'll come to you, Bisola. Morgan.
Yes, I have a question. So, is it necessary, in your opinion, is it necessary to have like for a finance degree and this data analyst experience? It's different type of analysts. Is it necessary to have that second degree like finance, or a healthcare analyst to have a degree in healthcare, a criminal analyst to have a degree in criminal justice to enter those fields, or would just this coursework be enough?
So, yes. So you don't have to have that degree. You don't have to have that background. This course will actually groom you, prepare you to be on the field. Like I actually have a degree in accounting, right? I came from the accounting background. One advantage that I had was I did economics as my minor, so I did a lot of data analysis. So that actually helped me in my position. But with the way we've tailored our curriculum and this course, you don't need to have a degree in any of this. All you need is make sure you learn, you follow the process, you have a schedule to learn. Because the best thing is you learning and following the process, and you will get it. But you don't really need any knowledge in healthcare or anything. If you have, it's a plus. I would love it, because that even makes it easy for you, especially with healthcare data. Yeah, it's one of the dirtiest and the most difficult data, depending on the requirement and what they're asking. It's most difficult to analyze, but it's also where a lot of jobs are. They're always hiring. When I say difficult, it's not like it's difficult for you to analyze. You can do it, but they have, with the healthcare, they have these codes that they use. They have CPT code, diagnosis code. They have all these terms that you need to learn them. You need to learn how they do the coding, right? You need to know how these billing codings are done. Those are the extra things that you have to learn on the job. So if you're already on the healthcare, it makes it easy because you understand those things, especially those who sit on the counter when you go into the hospital and they have to do the registration and all that. Most of them, they understand the code. So if you're on that level, doing analysis with the healthcare data will be easy for you. So yeah, you don't really need to have the knowledge to, start this. You can start it from ground zero and become a better or a great analyst. It's all about just following the process and having time to learn. Yeah. All right. So,
That was a great question, Morgan. But anyways, my question, I have two questions.
okay.
The first one was about the class. So, do we get recording of the class after each class? Because sometimes Clement just say you give assignments. So
Mm-hmm.
what if I get stuck? Can I go back? If I have the recording, I can easily go back and see how to figure it out or navigate. But I wanted to know if we get like recordings at the end of the class,
Okay.
each
Yes.
class.
Yes. Every class is recorded. That is the reason why he said if someone registered for the class and they really want to have a prior information before, we can give them the old recordings so they can go
Okay.
through it. So before you come back, you probably have an idea and knowledge of what we're going to do for that particular class. But yeah, we
Okay.
do recording. We record everything, and then we have a place. We're going to create. You have your folder. We're going to give you every class will have a folder, so we'll give you access
Okay.
to that. You go in and access all the videos. Yeah. Oh,
Okay.
that's what Clement is even showing. Yeah.
Okay, great. So my second question, Clement, we
Mm.
can hear you. You're muted.
Oh, I was saying this. It looks like this where every day after the class we upload the videos here. So
Okay. Okay, good.
and you always have access to it.
Okay. My second question is, what are the materials we need for the class? Take for example, computer. I have a Mac laptop. Is that good enough? Do I need to get like what is it called?
Windows.
Windows, thank you. Do I need to get one of those or I'm good with the Mac? Are there other things I need to get? What are the materials needed for the class?
I think some of the students had issues installing Power BI on Mac.
Yeah.
I need to confirm that. I mean, I've never used a Mac, so I don't even know how it works. But we have few students complaining about
Yeah. Hello.
installation. I don't know if anybody is on here and can answer that.
Oh yeah, Theo. I think
Hello.
Theo is here. Theo is yeah.
Yeah. If like it's using MacBook, need to do boot camp to install like Windows, like, and then she'll have like the Windows part, and then she'll have the Mac part. Have like
Oh, okay.
Windows, yeah, like boot camp, and then I don't know how
I guess
like
it
she
means
can
you have
get
to
it.
have parallels.
No,
You have to install
just
parallel, window parallel.
no, like just like type on his you should go to like search and then go to like boot camp, and then sure I said to like do like boot camp, and then she will do like Windows, and then she can do other stuff on it.
Like
Wait, so
Google, you mean Google search?
No, okay, so hold on. Let me go back to my MacBook. Okay, so
you're s-
like MacBook good, like it's like
Like search my
I did like
MacBook.
yeah, so like when you go to say do like boot camp,
boot camp.
it's like more like boot camp, like it's more
Is it
like
an app?
Is it an
no,
app?
it's not like yeah, it's like I think okay, like it's like more than like A plus. Sorry, okay. Let me-
Okay, I mean, Theo, if it has worked for you, if using the software has worked for you on MacBook, I mean, we can when we start the class, we can definitely get you to show it
All right, okay,
so
all
that
right,
other
okay.
people can do it as well.
Yeah, it was like
Yeah,
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 because
okay.
I don't have any background in
oh,
anything,
all
like
right.
in any of this computer thing, So I'm
Yeah,
Oh,
very
okay,
fresh.
okay,
yeah,
all right, okay, all right.
yeah. If it has worked for you, we can get him to show that in a class for us so that you guys can do it too.
I did like
But
A plus and A plus, so I've been stuff. So
okay.
all right, okay, all right.
Or is there a thing where I can go on YouTube and
Yeah, definitely. There should be a
Yeah,
video in there. You
yeah,
can just type.
on boot
Yeah.
camp like to like Windows, and then
Or you can type
it
in
will
how
ask you
can I
to,
get Windows on my
Windows on
MacBook?
my iMac,
Yeah,
my
yeah,
Mac? Okay.
yeah. There
and
are a
then
lot of videos out there.
it will ask you for your like flash drive to like download from Windows, and then just install it. Like it's so easy.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll check
Cool.
YouTube
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bisola. Is the name Bisola or do you pronounce
Bisola.
it Bisola? Oh, nice. So
Let me
Yeah.
pronounce the
I
Nigerian way. Bisola.
Bisola.
Bisola. Okay.
Bisola.
Bisola.
Yeah.
Yes.
I
Yeah.
like that name.
Like, you know how I used to
Thank
call
you.
And
Omo,
I,
Omo. I cannot
and
mention. I was like
Yeah.
Omo. Yeah.
and I,
Nice.
I don't know what I have been to, like this is before, Niger, because like you mentioned the names like good.
Yeah, I have a lot of Nigerian friends back
Oh,
home,
okay.
and when I was in college, yeah, we used to
Uh,
fight
Yeah.
on this jollof thing. So yeah.
wow.
Yeah. You know,
Don't
Nigerians.
bring like your love
Uh,
into this
And
conversation.
uh,
Clarence, if you like the
it,
name, you
it,
just have to provide your love.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
You know,
Nigerians and Ghanaians, we are family, so
Of
always we
course.
fight.
somebody said Africa is Ghana, Nigerians, and everybody else because
Yes.
we are always making arguments and making it seem like Africa is all
Right.
about us.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, good stuff. But yeah, apart from your laptop, I mean, we are going to teach how to install the softwares in class.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you don't, all you need is your laptop and your willingness to learn, pretty
Yeah.
much. You know, that's
Yeah.
the most important. I
Yeah.
think everything else we will handle that for you.
Great. Thank you.
You're
I'm
welcome.
excited.
I'm
Yeah,
excited as
likewise.
you are.
Yes.
I like that.
I think Megan had a question. Was it yeah, Morgan? Oh, I think she left. Okay.
Okay.
Anybody else with a question? Okay.
I don't see any. Cool. Yeah, it's been a great session. Ed. Is
Ed.
this Ed from SQL?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know if you said this already, but I wanted to ask. I took the sequel class, but I'm trying to sign up for the first for the full package. I think that was the initial one, but it was ending, and you recommended to take the sequel and join again. So I was figuring out how the payment plan for that one would be. Should I just ping you on the side or?
Yeah, ping me so we will take the SQL class out of it and we will give you that 10% discount to you. So the rest you
Okay.
can pay over the 3 months.
Okay, appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And Ed has been one of our SQL gurus in the class.
He's
Good
my
country.
teaching assistant.
Yeah.
Yeah, Nana, you make the class fun and very interactive, so it makes you think on your feet.
Yeah. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, Ed. Like Ed, anytime like I'll see Ed on the class, I say, wow, this guy on top
Yes.
again.
Yes. I
Like
always tell her, hey, don't
today,
talk.
Yeah.
like today, I was like, okay, let me. It's so good, like
Yeah.
it's so
I think
good. Yeah.
yeah, I think Kamara has a question.
Is it
Kamara?
Ijatu?
Yeah.
Did I pronounce
Yes.
it right?
Yes, it's Yatu and Paul Eunice. I don't know if y'all see both of us on there. It's my wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Ijatu, where are you from?
Sierra Leone.
What, Senegal?
No,
No,
Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
Salo.
Yeah, Salo. Yeah, I have a lot of friends that I play soccer
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
Yeah, Kamara, I should have known. I have a friend called Alassane Kamara. He's Sierra Leone too. So
Yeah,
cool. What
Kamara.
question do you have?
Kamara. Well, it's me. It's her husband. I was on there. My name is Paul Eunice actually, but my
Okay.
phone died, my connection, so I decided to join, and I was driving.
Oh,
And
okay.
yeah, but I don't know. The question may have been asked like, so the class, how many people do you do in the section for the class?
You
In
said
order to get everybody the attention that some people they might need more than the others. So like some people won't be able to get held up, if I'm asking correctly. Like, so how many people exactly will be in this class section?
so the maximum we will do is 50. That's the maximum we will do. The current one that we're doing on average, so some of the classes have more because people normally come in and take the individual classes too. On average, the one we're doing now have on average of 30, and we've handled that fine. So we'll be able to do more. But yeah, once we get to 50, we're gonna cap it.
Okay, and then my next question is, uh, I'm currently working farmer, right? I work as an associate. I'm an associate scientist, right? So I work in the lab, and I'm really trying to get out of the lab.
Yeah.
So being in the pharma industry is, I'm trying to see how like the data analytics. I'm interested in this, right? So I pick up a course on CompTIA called Data Plus. So, but it's not teaching me the SQL, the Python, and all those things. And I realized like this is the skill set that I need to actually to be able to utilize what also CompTIA is teaching me. So, if I want to also go into like the healthcare or the pharmaceutical industry, so it will be the same skill set that I need to transition to either one of those. Because I also work in a hospital as a tech. Like I have a diverse background in terms of being the pharmaceutical side, and I also like a certified tech where I work in pharma, and I was in PharmD program. So, but the data analytics area is somewhere I really have a high interest. So I want to see like how I can utilize everything I know and all my skill set to be able to land a job in that area.
Okay, Nana, you want to take that?
Yeah. So yeah, good. So actually, we even have a lady who is also doing in the pharma industry. I believe. Think what's the name? I forgot. But yeah, we have one
Esther.
lady.
I think
Yeah,
her name is
yeah,
Esther.
who is
Yeah.
also So if you want to go into the data side of healthcare, right? Yeah, these are the tools that you need. And then the good thing is you will be able to do great things because you already understand the health sector terms and then most of the things that they do. Because so when I ask like CPT code, diagnosis code, these are things I believe you know already. Even on the prescription, those because I remember when I look at prescriptions before, I didn't know what RX is, I didn't know what NDC code. Now people call me doctor because I know all those things. I look at it and I'm like, oh, okay, this is it. Yeah. So since you already know that, yeah, it will be easy for you to get in. And I will recommend going into the health data, analysis side. So that way it will be easy for you because you already know the terms and all that. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, these are the tools that you need to be able to get. And believe me, there are so many health jobs out there that you can get. I remember one of my friends told me that he hates health data. I was like, why? And he was like, wait until you get there and then you know what I'm talking about. And it's true. When I got in, I almost switched to going into a different environment. But I was like, no, let me try it. Let me push it. Now, when you give me a prescription, I know all those codes. I know. So now I can even tell you that, okay, this prescription, maybe it's not good for the person who is actually taking it. Let's say, for instance, the doctor made a mistake and wrote the wrong prescription. I can read it and tell the person that, okay, this dose is not, it's basically for this procedure, not what maybe they've made a mistake. I can read those things and tell you a lot of things. Now I know CPT code, I know what the diagnosis code, I know the NDC code, I know the RX, all those things just by working on the health field. And people call me, in my colleagues call me doctor, because when you come in and then you ask me, okay, they can say, okay, we want to look at all the emergency visits, right? The best way to look at emergency visits, you can go into Google and say, yeah, you want to look at a CPT code for emergency visit or hospitalization, people who were hospitalized. How do you determine that? I can just go using CPT code and then just write, I want to know the CPT code for hospitalization, and it will bring it everything. And then I can look at the code, look at the data, and start analyzing. Pull all hospitalization codes or hospitalization CPT code in that data and start analyzing. So yeah, with you on the field already, if you learn the tools, going in for an interview with the little things that we're going to teach you, you'll be able to scale the interview. As long as you feel that confident to do, because I know interviews the first time can be intimidating, but that shouldn't throw you off. You have to, and there's this secret that you know, I don't give out. I only give that out in the mentorship class. And that is a trick that has helped most of my students to get job. So
All right.
yeah.
I look forward to working with y'all. Actually, I've done my research on this thing. I've been researching for a while, like trying to see where I can utilize everything I know. And this area has been an interest of mine for a while. And YouTubing, researching, everybody teaching all that, I'm like, I need to find someone that's actually gonna get me in that route. I don't know how I discovered you on Bootang on IG. I was like, let me click this guy, see what he's talking about.
This guy
You're the
talking.
only person
This
saying
guy
it.
talking so much, right? What is he talking about?
Let's see what he's talking about. Let me just click on him, and then for some reason they go to Facebook, and then I'm getting contact. I'm like, you know what? Let me see what this class is about.
Yeah, we're all
But
over the
yeah,
place. Yeah.
I look forward to your class. I'm definitely interested.
Yeah, I mean the tools, it works the same everywhere. So you
Yeah.
just take it and apply it to the domain. Like I worked in engineering and project management, so that's the domain I went in. And the advantage I always get over everybody else, a lot of the data analysts that come in, when you give them the engineering and project management data, you have to hold their hand and show them what the data means. But me, when I look at it, I know exactly what it means because I worked in the field. So yeah, with you being in the field already, you just, once you start just switching your mindset to look at things from a data analyst point of view, you'll be straight.
Yeah. And I have worked in almost all the industries, including government.
Yeah.
So I have that rich experience in almost all the domains. So
That's
Yeah.
good. It's good to know.
We all want to be like Nana when we grew up.
yeah.
Trust me.
So now you got is it a 10% discount I heard that if we pay when is that payment will be due as in terms of is it in full or you can have partial payment still?
Yeah, you can do 3 months payment plan. And the discount will still apply.
Okay. When do you expect first payment? Like is when the class starts July 2nd or
So the discount, we put it on to run through the end of tomorrow. The enrollment for the full package, we're planning on closing that on Monday so that at least we can use Tuesday to set up the class and send out the links that need to be sent out. If for some reason you want to sign up but you can't do it by Monday, let me know. We can accommodate that for you.
all right. I'm actually gonna send you an email.
Okay, sounds good. And I'll put my number in the chat as well. So if you check the chat, it's the 540 number. You can see it there.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Bisola, did you have another question?
I did, and it was based off of the conversation you guys were having.
Okay.
So I don't have any experience. I don't have any background in anything, right? I mean, not in anything, of course, but in data analysis, no background. So
Okay.
are you saying that will be tough for me, or?
What industry have you worked in? Or have you?
Okay, so I've worked in healthcare, but I've worked as HIDIS, which is insurance.
Okay.
So we're an abstract, or we abstract for insurance people, insurance company. I've done that. I've also worked with Epic. I've done a
Okay.
couple of Epic
Okay.
projects, and I'm also a real estate agent. So
Oh
those
wow.
are the things. Yes, if you guys want to buy a house, I'm in Houston. Call your baby daddy. Yep.
Okay. You're gonna have to
Anyway,
convince me to move to Houston. I almost
yes,
moved there some time ago, but somebody told
really.
me it
I
gets
think it's
too
time
hot.
to move now. It's time to
Somebody
move.
said it gets too hot and there's too much traffic, and somebody
There's no.
discouraged me.
Where do you live right now?
Virginia.
Okay, I don't know much about Virginia, so I really can't say. But the traffic is not bad. Okay, you just know when to go out and when not to.
I see.
Yeah,
I mean, it's equally bad here. So, but
right. It's
yeah, I
everywhere.
mean, you do have a lot of good domain backgrounds. So what we were saying was that for somebody, if you have like a healthcare background, if you look at healthcare data and you start learning these skills and you look at healthcare data, it makes it so much easier to understand. Like you working in real estate, If we go download data from Redfin or Zillow and give you data for the past 30 years to analyze, you can easily look at that data and say, for the past 30 years, this has been the average prices of homes in Houston. This has been the average this. You can easily analyze that data because you already have the knowledge in that real estate space, right? So that's what we're saying, that when you start learning these skills and you take it to a domain that you understand already, it makes life so much easier for you.
Okay.
So that's what we were saying. You don't have to have the data experience, but target it towards the place that you already have familiarity with. Like, I have a friend who is in the class. He worked at a store as a data analyst, and not as a data analyst. We were training him to be a data analyst, but he works at a store, and he used to feel the same way. He was like, I've only worked in a store. What can I do? And now he started learning these skills, and now when he's speaking about it, he understands how this applies in the retail space. So I told him to write his own resume for us to review, and he was actually able to write the resume to talk about how he has analyzed, sales data to see items going out and coming in, what kind of profits. Because he was like, at the end of every day, the store he works in is a small store. At the end of every day, he goes through to put that data in a spreadsheet, calculate the total amount they sold, how much items need to be restocked, and all of that. And I'm like, you're doing data analysis, but in a very small scale. When you work for a retail company like Walmart, the data analyst in the corporate office is doing the same thing you're doing. It's just that they work with a much bigger data. So, yeah. And that's what I was saying. I worked in engineering and project management, so that's my domain. And it makes life easy for me. But if you've never had anything, if you're fresh, never worked before, then you actually have a lot of options to choose from. You just got to find that domain that you have passion for, and just go there. It makes life so much easier.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah.
I think Akushi wanted to, All right.
And I think Paul, your hand is up again, or was it from the previous one?
I mean, I unmuted by
Yeah, I
accident.
think from the
My bad,
previous.
but I'm good.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you, Akushi.
All right. It's been a 3-hour session.
Yeah.
Good session though. Today I was like, maybe we'll do an hour and it turned into 3. But great session, great questions. That's what we like, to make it interactive. If you decide that this class is not for you, that's fine. You've still at least gotten good information of what this field is about. If you have anything, if you struggle with anything that we can help you with, never hesitate to reach out. Yeah, this is family, like I said.
Sorry, a quick one. Because you said 3 hours, and I'm thinking it's 7 o'clock here. So the classes start. What time do you guys use? Is this the Eastern
Yeah,
or
so that would be
Central?
6 p.m. your time.
Okay. Oh, so I joined. I was just 15 minutes late. Okay, that's good. I
You
thought I was
didn't?
an hour 15 minutes late.
No, then yeah. And I mean, we started, I think it was 7 or 8 minutes in, so you probably didn't miss much.
Yeah, that's great. Okay. So the classes are 7 to 9, which is my 8 to 10. Okay.
No, you're 6 to 8.
Oh my God, that's confusing.
No, we lead.
So what time
you guys
what
one
time
hour.
it is
The
in your place?
classes right now is 7 p.m.
Right.
Okay,
7:06.
so so yours will be 6 to 8.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys are 8 p.m. Right. Okay.
Right.
6 to 8.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Thank you.
Cool.
One more question. So it's gonna be Easter time, Virginia
Yeah.
time.
Yes.
Okay, and Monday and Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Mondays and Wednesdays for classes, Saturdays for mentorship.
Okay.
All right. Cool. If there's no more questions, we'll go ahead and end it here.
Yeah.
But like I said, I also put a number in the chat. If you have any questions and you want to reach out, feel free to do so. We are available, and we hope to connect with all of you guys again in the future. We'll be doing more of these webinars, even beyond data analytics. We will sometimes bring people in different fields to talk about their experiences too. So if you see this going around, be sure to share it with your friends. This can help. We're building a community to share information. I had one conversation with Nana, and that changed my life. So information is key, and that's what we are doing now. So yeah, thank you everyone for joining. We will see and talk to you guys some other time. And we appreciate you for showing up.
Thank you for having us.
All right.
See you in class.
All right.
See you.
See you.
Bye.
Bye.